Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday, December 19th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on the Owen Report today. Well. Drama in D.C. I kind of feel like all parties were preparing for this. But it looks like the Department of Justice is going to be breaking the law. It looks like Pam Bondi is going to be breaking the law. She has now been threatened with arrest because they are not releasing the full Epstein files. My, oh, my. My, oh, my. No full release. They're going to release something, but not the whole thing. And now it's the Democrats that are pushing for the release, and it's the Republicans that Trump is campaigning against that are pushing the release. Very telling. And how ironic would it be if it's Pam Bondi that is the first deep state arrest? Who would have had that one coming? And this administration and these establishment Republicans are so out of touch that they don't even understand. You won't be able to cry victim on this deal. You're not going to be able to cover up the Epstein files and cry victim. Republicans, Trump voters will back the Democrats in calling for Pam Bondi's arrest. You just watch. Gladly. And that's what you get. That's what you get for not draining the swamp and not doing deep state arrests. So get used to it. Meanwhile, as if you didn't already know this, but now more facts are coming out. We actually have the numbers to go along with the steal from 2020 in Georgia in Fulton County. Over 300,000 votes. Over 300,000 illegal votes in Georgia. That's how they stole Georgia. We all saw it happen. No arrests. That's becoming the theme, isn't it? No arrests. And it's getting tiresome. And so if Bondi ends up being the first arrest, it will be ironic. And that's what the threat currently is. Puka Nakua, ladies and gentlemen. Well, after all of the drama from the Aiden Ross stream, Puka Nakua actually stepped on the field last night and dominated the game, and then went right back to social media and got in trouble afterwards because I guess there were some controversial calls. Typical. And now the fines. That was an easy one to predict, but, we'll take it. We take it. We take all the hits we can get, whether it's an infield single or a bunt or down the line or a home run. We take all the hits. Yep, we had that one coming. Puka Nakua officially fined as of today. Now, I've got a ton of leftover news from this week, but my news desk for today is light. I will talk about some of the TPUSA drama, but I think we're going to do a very heavy caller show today. I want to take a lot of calls today and get your reaction to all of this stuff. But what's happening at TPUSA is very telling, and its Turning Point is a fitting name for what we're witnessing at the Turning Point AmFest, because this is truly a turning point. And Americans are finally turning against the corrupt donor class and the special interests and the foreign interests that have stolen our wealth and our future. That's the turning point. And Ben Shapiro doesn't like it.
This news update was brought to you by OwenSchroyer.store, the official site for Owen Report merchandise.
All right, guys, I got to tell you about our new sponsor. I'm very excited about this. MyRedLight.com. MyRedLight.com. Now, last night, if you were tuned in, you know I talked to Jonathan Otto on a long stream last night. We weren't even supposed to go that long, and it was just such a good conversation. And we talked about the scientific proof that red light therapy works. There's all kinds of studies. He was citing all the studies. We were talking about it. MyRedLight.com. And I've got all the information they want me to share with you. But let me just do this. Let me just tell you what has happened in the last, I don't know, I guess it's like 12 hours for me with the products from MyRedLight.com. Specifically, I'll show you the product specifically in a second. So last night, I'm 36 now, and you know, it gets harder and harder to get up and run with these kids at the gym playing basketball. It gets harder and harder the older I get, and can't keep up like I used to. So I took some time off from playing basketball, and I decided I would pick it back up this week. So I played last night for a couple hours with some of the young guns, and yet again today, the legs are just barking. They're just barking. And so I'm sitting here before the show. Well, actually, it was this morning. I'm at the gym this morning, and I'm doing some leg lunges. And my left knee is starting to do what my left knee likes to do at age 36. And just, let me know it's a 36-year-old knee that's been running and playing ball for 30 years. Gives me a not so subtle reminder in the middle of a lunge today. So I finish my workout, I get home, I'm sitting here at the desk, and I've got the band. Let me find it. It comes in all these different packages, by the way. The band I'm going to tell you about here. It is, I believe it's this one right here, the Therapy Pro belt. So I'm sitting here at my desk. I'm like, I just got my red light therapy belt, and let me just throw it on the old knee. Let's just throw it on the old knee and see if it feels better afterwards. So I did 20 minutes, put the band on my knee. It was kind of sore, kind of achy, like you might expect. And after 20 minutes taking it off, instant relief. I mean, instant relief. That's my experience just today. So the stuff is incredible. The science backs it. I'm very excited to have MyRedLight.com on as a sponsor. Red light therapy is incredible for your health. Go watch the stream I did with Jonathan Otto last night if you want to learn about it and all the scientific studies and research that shows the positive benefits. But I already felt it. Just 20 minutes with the Pro belt around my knee. Instant relief. Instant. It's incredible. So, folks, MyRedLight.com. And right now, coupon code Owen25 will get you 25% off any single item, 25% off any single item with Owen25, 30% off any bundles with Owen30. So you see they have a bunch of bundles here. So a single item like this, you use coupon code Owen25, you get 25% off. If you want to go into one of these bundles, use coupon code Owen30, and you'll get 30% off. I'm definitely getting one of these bundles. I have a singular right now at my house. I have a single panel and the knee wrap. Well, it's actually not the re-wrap. They do have a knee wrap, but I have the band. I want to get a full body. I want to get 2 full body panels. I want to have like a whole full body deal at my house. It's just, it's so great. You feel the effects. You're going to love it. And I'm glad to have MyRedLight.com on as a sponsor. Owen25, 25% off any single item. Owen30, 30% off any bundle.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer. Play the game, kid.
All right, where do we want to begin? Where do we want to begin? You've got the Epstein debacle that continues. You've got the drama at TPUSA, and maybe we start there. And I've got a lot of evidence of this. I've played some of the evidence of this, where the youth is going. I guess I have a little bit of a, if you have kids, you might know. If you have young kids or high school kids or college kids, you might know this. Or if you have any interaction with the younger kids, you might know this. The interaction I have is just with the high school kids, the college kids at the gym that I play ball with. That, you know, they're interested in you when they find out you got a big following or you're a streamer or whatever. They think it's cool. So I get a little bit of a view into what the youth is thinking and what they're like interacting with them. And I can tell you, they definitely align closer to Nick Fuentes than Ben Shapiro. And that's putting it lightly. That's putting it very lightly. And so when you see what happens at TPUSA and you realize how out of touch this right-wing establishment is, that is just over the top supportive of Israel. They support Israel more than they do America. There'll be more backlash if you're not loyal to Israel than if you're not loyal to America. And you can talk trash about America's government or politicians or whatever, it's fine, but you don't dare say anything negative about Israel or Netanyahu. Well, the youth is starting to pick up on that. They're starting to turn against that. They don't like being lectured. Specifically, young white men that have been told they're the worst thing ever for years, that are now just immune to it and don't care. So you can't shut them up with the attacks. You can't shut them up with the name calling. It doesn't work. They laugh at you. They think it's funny. It's part of their culture now. And I think the Aiden Ross, Puka Nakua stream is very indicative of where things are at. And that's why they're so confused. Aiden Ross is 25 years old. Puka Nakua is 24 years old. And that's why they're so confused. And they're like, how can you be so insensitive? Don't you know you're hurting people's feelings? They don't care. They don't care about your delicate sensibilities. They don't care about your woke feelings. They're so over it. They're so beyond it. It's funny to them now. And of course, the ultimate irony would be that Aiden Ross himself is Jewish. And Aiden, who I give a lot of credit to, by the way, and I'll be playing some Aiden Ross clips coming up here soon. I give a lot of credit. I didn't know much about him. I mean, I was aware of who he was. Obviously, he's a popular streamer, but I didn't know much about him other than that. And I've been following this whole Puka Nakua backlash, and I gotta say, I am very, I don't know if impressed is the right word, but I like this Aiden Ross kid. I like what I'm seeing from him. He's logically consistent. He's funny. He's cool. And he's a loyal friend. That is rare these days. That is rare these days. But isn't it ironic? Here's Aiden Ross, who's Jewish. And here's Puka Nakua, who's Polynesian. And they're young guys, and they're having fun on a stream. And I'm sure Puka Nakua's political perspective, viewpoint, whatever, is extremely limited. He's a professional football player. He's a professional athlete. He's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I don't think he's too ingrained in the political world, definitely not the nuance of it, the controversy of it. So Aiden Ross is like, hey, let's do this touchdown celebration. And Nakua has no idea what's going on. And it's funny. It's actually a very elite touchdown celebration. He's like, it's funny. And now it's like the top GIF, what do you call it? It's the top one either way. It's the top one on X now. And it's hilarious. And obviously Nakua has no idea what's going on. He just thinks it's funny. And Nakua, despite being a professional football player on a rookie contract, is actually not the richest guy in the world. He's not making that much money for a top NFL receiver. Now, you know, he'll get paid when he signs a new contract, but right now he's living in Los Angeles. He's not a rich guy. I'm guessing, I don't know this, I'm guessing Aiden Ross is doing some promotional deal and he's paying people to come on the show. I don't know that. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if Puka Nakua was willing to do this show in the middle of a football season because maybe he's looking for a little extra cash. So Aiden Ross is like, hey, come on my stream. We'll throw you some cash. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't care either way. It's fair whether that happened or not. But so Nakua has no idea what's going on. He doesn't know what the hand rubbing is or the significance or a political message. He doesn't know. It's just funny. They're just two kids having fun. And then there's all this backlash. And it's so great to see that Nakua in last night's game had such a great game. So it's obviously not affecting him or impacting him. Maybe it's even having a positive impact. My guess is his teammates are supporting him. I mean, this might surprise you, but I don't think there's any Zionists playing in the NFL. I don't think there's any Zionists in the NFL locker rooms, in the offensive huddles. So my guess is most of the people that Puka Nakua is surrounded by probably think it's funny or even cool or like it or they're indifferent. So he goes out and he kicks ass last night, despite all the backlash, then goes right back on social media, makes a controversial post after a controversial call. And then, as we called earlier this week, of course, Puka Nakua has been fined now. They fined him $25,000. But this is where the youth is at. This is where under 30-year-old Americans are at. And the more you try to browbeat them and tell them what they can or can't say, and the more you try to turn this victim class against them, which they don't give a damn about, the more you try to do that, the worse it's going to get. And that's why I've reached the conclusion that they're doing it intentionally. I'm convinced they are intentionally trying to cause anti-Semitism. I think it's all being done intentionally. And I think the reason why they're doing it is because they need an excuse to take your First Amendment and your Second Amendment, which they're already calling for, by the way. I've had it in my stack all week. We've got new developments on that today. Yes, you have European politicians, Australian politicians, American politicians, and of course Netanyahu calling to take away your First Amendment and your Second Amendment to protect Jews from anti-Semitism. And I think it's all being done intentionally. I think they're showing you the absolute slaughter of the people in Palestine and then telling you they're not doing it. And then telling you you have to pay for it or you're a bad person. People don't like that. And then they have all of these social media influencers on the payroll and they're rubbing it in your face and they're shoving the propaganda down your face. Every time you turn on the news or look at DC or log into social media or follow the administration, it's all about Israel, 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 Israel. And then you can't even say anything about it or you're an anti-Semite. To me, they're intentionally driving anti-Semitism. I believe it's all being done intentionally. I believe the powers that be, whoever they are intentionally causing anti-Semitism. They want anti-Semitism. Like a Rabbi Shmuley, you don't think that guy knows he's a detestable freak? You don't think a Rabbi Shmuley knows what he's doing? He knows exactly what he's doing. I even look, again, you go back to that Hanukkah event the other night, and they're just bragging about how they own your country. Adelson, Levin, Trump, they're bragging about how these are the people that run your country. They're laughing about it. They're dancing around the White House as Americans are broke, giving another $40 billion to Israel. They're rubbing it in your face, sending all our politicians to the wall, sending all the social media influencers over there, telling you how great it is, using Ben Shapiro to try to control the conversation. So obviously it's not working, and it's having the reverse effect. But I think it's all being done intentionally. I think the entire thing is being done intentionally so that ultimately they can use this to take away your First and your Second Amendment. So there will be organic events and there will be false flags. Both things will happen. You look at what happened at Bondi Beach. That could be organic. That could be a false flag. Either way, the result is the same. But I think they're building this up. They're building this up towards a big event, of which case, in the aftermath, they will blame it on anti-Semitism, and they will say, that's it. We can't do it anymore. We can't have a First Amendment anymore. It's too dangerous. We can't have a Second Amendment anymore. It's too dangerous. You don't have a Fourth Amendment anymore. You don't have a right to privacy. It's too dangerous. So they're going to log it into the new AI surveillance grid. And the biggest thought crime and speech crime you can commit is criticizing Israel or saying anything they deem as anti-Semitic. Now, that's just the launch point. That's just the launch point. Eventually, it'll be geared towards protecting gays or trans or you name it. But they're clearly driving this anti-Semitism thing. It's all being done intentionally so that they can have a big event, blame it on anti-Semitism, and take your right to free speech, your right to bear arms, and your right to privacy in the name of stopping anti-Semitism and protecting the biggest victim class in the world, the Jews. It's all being done intentionally. Now, you could say on the reverse side of that, and I guess this is where, I don't know. Do the Q people still exist? Do they still believe that this is all part of an operation? Because this would be their moment, quite frankly. This would be their moment to say, see, Trump is showing you who runs the world. Trump is showing you who runs the country. Trump is showing you who the corrupt bastards are that sold you out and stole your future. And Q always said, saving Israel for last. So would this be last? So I don't know where the Q-tards are at. I don't mean that to be condescending. But clearly that's what's going on. This is so intentional, it's ridiculous. This is so over the top being rubbed in your face, it's ridiculous. And it has to be intentional. There's no way they don't know that what they're doing is causing anti-Semitism. There is no way. They have to know that. I refuse to believe that they actually think in good faith that what Israel is doing or what Netanyahu is saying or what Jonathan Greenblatt is saying or what Ben Shapiro is saying or Mark Levin is saying or what the administration is doing and everything else. I refuse to believe that they don't understand that they are causing anti-Semitism. I refuse to believe that. They know it. There's no way they are not aware of that. They know it and they like it because it gives them power. And it will ultimately give them the excuse to take away your rights. That's what I see happening. And what's going on at the Turning Point USA event is just the total proof that that's exactly what's going on. And there's no doubt there's a split. There's no doubt there's a split. And I'm talking to some people that are there, and they're like, well, there's no doubt that Tucker Carlson got a better response from the audience than Ben Shapiro did. There's no doubt about that. But it's not like Ben Shapiro didn't get, some support from the audience. It was maybe a quarter of what Tucker Carlson got. And you can watch the videos for yourself and you can listen to the crowd's reaction. Tucker Carlson is obviously way more popular. But the dividing line from the people I talked to that were there, they tell me the dividing line is age. That's it. It's just generational. And there's virtually zero people under the age of 30 that cheer for Ben Shapiro. Now, obviously, there are some, and there are plenty of Zionists and Israel supporters in the younger generations. That those people do exist. But most of it is over 40. Most of it is over 40. Tucker Carlson, on the other hand, he's getting a round of applause from virtually everybody. Carlson is getting like an 85% approval rating from the audience. Shapiro's getting about a 30. So there's your turning point. And then you think about it generationally. And again, this is where, if you understand where the youth is at, you understand where it's going. And then you understand the larger controversy around the Charlie Kirk assassination and the attempt for the Zionists who want to control Turning Point USA and the message directed at the youth, why they're so panicked to get Ben Shapiro on the stage. Because they know they're losing the youth. Who does the youth listen to? You know who the top streamers right now for young guys are, young men? They listen to Myron Gaines. They listen to Nick Fuentes. They listen to Aiden Ross. They listen to Sneeko. That's who young people are listening to. They're not listening to Ben Shapiro. They're not listening to Turning Point USA. And if they are, they're just looking for something controversial or some clip to post on social media. No, they're being influenced, and their favorite people right now are Myron Gaines, Nick Fuentes, Sneeko, and Aiden Ross, who are very much aligned politically and do not like Netanyahu or the state of Israel. That's who they listen to. That's who they like. That's who they're being influenced by. They look at Ben Shapiro like a nerd. They look at Ben Shapiro like an establishment hack, a sellout, a traitor. So TPUSA is desperate to try to get the youth back on board of the Israel cause. They're failing miserably. That's why Ben Shapiro, and look, I don't know the intimate stuff. I can only go off what I'm told and the hearsay. But it is true. Ben Shapiro was not on the roster for this event this weekend. Ben Shapiro was not on the roster until after Charlie Kirk died. Now, the hearsay is Charlie didn't like Ben. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. But I do know it's true that Shapiro was not on the speaking roster until after Charlie died. That is true. And I know Charlie was a big supporter and friend of Tucker Carlson's. I don't know about the Ben Shapiro claims. But that's the turning point. And so my concern is that the Israel lobby that knows, folks, they pretend like Israel isn't dependent on the United States of America. They pretend like they don't want to continue to take the foreign aid and the military aid and everything else. They know that Israel needs it. They know, the Israel lobby knows, and the Israel loyalists know, and the Israeli citizens that are betraying this country, betraying America, traitors against America, like a Ben Shapiro and a Mark Levin in my eyes, and most others now. They know that if Israel loses the United States and the support of the United States, that they got big trouble. They got big trouble. It's like the smallest kid on the playground is throwing or spitting spitballs at everyone else on the playground. The smallest kid on the playground is hitting everybody on the playground with spitballs, but when they try to approach and say, hey, knock it off, there's big bad America, the biggest guy on the playground saying, you can't touch this person. Well, what happens to that little nitwit spitting spitballs on everyone when the big boy on the playground, the United States of America, what happens when they say, I'm not protecting you anymore? They know. They know. And Ben Shapiro has said the only reason he's loyal to the USA is because the United States of America is subsidizing the existence of Israel and protecting Israel. He said that. So everybody sees it now. They know. That's why the TPUSA donors were desperate to keep Charlie on the Israeli cause. That's why Ben Shapiro is speaking at the event to try to demonize Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and anybody else that they think is in the way of continuing this support. And that's why, quite frankly, you're seeing this desperate crash out from people like Laura Loomer and all these other people that you've never even heard of before that are just coming out of nowhere. Because I guess Israel is their number one cause. And maybe it always was, or maybe they just decided to pick it up. I don't know, but that's what it is. So they're all panicked. And what they don't understand, and this is what they don't understand, this is where they're missing the ball, and this is where I've been trying to communicate with them for over a year. I have been trying to say this. If you really want to stop anti-Semitism, you're going to have to call out the Israeli lobby. If you really want to stop anti-Semitism, you're going to have to call out Netanyahu, and you're going to have to call out what's going on in the Gaza Strip, and you're going to have to call out all the actions of the Netanyahu regime bombing 7 different countries right now. That's what the problem is. But they won't call it out. They're demanding that you support it, and so it just makes it worse. And this is what they don't understand. The people that you're trying to convey this message to don't care about Israel. They do not care. It's simple as that. It's not a cause they care about. It's not a cause they think about. And now it's a cause they're just sick of. Now it's a cause that they just reject wholeheartedly. Now, you might be able to get away with all of this if the average American has $50,000 in a savings account. You might be able to get away with all of this if the average American family can afford to have a fridge full of groceries and go on a vacation every year and have a pool in their backyard. You might be able to get away with all of this stuff if the average American right now is doing very well financially, very well off, feeling good about the future, feeling good about the country. Then you might be able to get away with all this stuff. But you don't have that anymore. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Most American families are running on a budget. So you can't sit here and tell American families and the American youth, hey, if you don't support Israel, your country's going to collapse. Folks, they already think the country's collapsed. They look around them, the wide open borders, the invasion, all the migrants coming here, the genocide of the white race, the Holocaust of the white race, the 40 trillion in debt, the nonstop wars. The country's already collapsed. You can't sit here and tell them, oh, you're going to be in trouble. America's going to be in trouble if you don't support Israel. We've been supporting Israel, and guess what? The country's in big trouble. And I get back to the original point. We do not care about Israel, and there's nothing you can do that's going to change that. We do not care. It's not our problem. It's not our concern. It's not our tradition. So then they try to guilt trip you if you're a Christian, and they had a big booth at Turning Point USA, guilt tripping Christians that don't support Israel. So then they try to guilt trip you if you're a Christian. They say, you have to support Israel. It's in the Bible. And now you just look like lying, corrupt sons of bitches. The Bible does not tell me that I have to support a foreign government. The Bible does not tell me I have to support a politician from a foreign country. And if you really, and this is where the people get into the debate, the country of Israel is not the Israel of the Bible. So this is what they're doing. So first it's, oh, America won't survive without Israel. That ain't selling. Oh, if you're a Christian, you have to support Israel. That ain't selling. And at the foundation of all of it is that the American youth doesn't give a damn about Israel, and they never will. They do not care. They're sick of it. And the more you try to shove it down their throats, the worse it's going to get. But I think they're doing it all intentionally. How can you not know that this is going to cause anti-Semitism? How can you not know, with Levin and all of them running around the White House bragging about how they own the president? What do you think is going to happen when Americans are struggling and they see that? What do you think is going to happen when they look into what all of the foreign aid to Israel is doing, and how the United States citizen, the United States taxpayer, subsidizes the existence of the state of Israel? And so they have affordable health care. They have affordable health care. They have a good education system. We don't have that. But Israel does. Why? Because you work like a slave to pay for it. So everybody's figuring this out now. But it's like, this has to be done intentionally. And if this is all out of desperation, then what a wild series of events. If this is all organic and they're really overplaying their hand and this is just all out of desperation because they know they're using the youth, then what a wild ride we're on right now. But either way, I think we're going to get the same thing, which is a massive event, and they're going to blame it on anti-Semitism, and they're going to come back and they're going to say, that's it. No more First Amendment, no more Second Amendment, no more Fourth Amendment. You don't have any rights anymore. You don't have any rights anymore. That's what I think is going on. And it all kind of adds up. The formula makes sense. And I think the big difference is, and I won't get too into the deal with the Trump administration. I did a late night stream last night talking about how the Trump administration and Trump himself is kind of playing into all of this. But I won't go into that. I won't go into that right now. But let's go back to 2020. The COVID pandemic, the release of the bioweapon, all of that, the shutdown of the economy, and then the attempt in the aftermath to build the infrastructure, the World Health Organization global pandemic infrastructure. See, they made their big mistake, and they've learned from it now. You were supposed to be more enslaved than ever after COVID, but they failed. We won in the streets. We won in the digital interface. And then we got rid of the global pandemic treaty via the World Health Organization. And to Trump's credit, he did that. But I think it was kind of an empty gesture because it was already dead on arrival. But either way, that's how it went down. So they learned, okay, they did their mass event. They did their big event, COVID-19, and they were supposed to get a global government, a centralized health government in the response to that. But their big mistake was that they didn't build the infrastructure first. Instead, they ran the operation. They ran the COVID-19 operation. Then they tried to build the infrastructure and sell it to you, and you rejected it because we won in the streets. We won in the hearts and minds. We won in the digital interface. So now they realized, okay, actually what we have to do is we have to build the infrastructure first. Then we do the big event. And then we don't give them an option. So that's what they're doing. That's why they're building the AI. That's why they're building the AI surveillance grid, the data centers, all of it. They're building the they're building the infrastructure right now for total thought control, total speech control, social credit system, digital currencies. They're building that first. Then when they do the big event, they're just going to flip it on. They're not going to give you the option. They're not going to try to sell it to you. You're just going to wake up and you're going to be in it. The people that want to own this planet and enslave you because they think that you're bad or you don't deserve to live, this is how they think. This is how they act. This is what they do. So if you can't figure that out, well, you might have taken a couple COVID vaccines. How many COVID vaccines did you take? If you haven't figured that deal out. Because that's where it is. Now, I got to say, and I'm gonna hit some news headlines after this. I've been hoping that we would get the Christmas rally in the markets. I'm having a bit of a sigh of relief today because it looks like the Christmas rally has hit today. And so maybe it's time for me to get out of the stock market and get into gold and precious metals. I suggest you consider the same and go to protectwithowen.com. Hear from my friends at Allegiance Gold. And they know that you're seeing the signs already. You're seeing that the dollar is losing its value. Banks are getting bailed out. They're showing stress. Money is being printed at will. The market is volatile. People are concerned what's going to happen next year. So what are you doing to prepare yourself? What are you doing? Give a call to my friends at Allegiance Gold, 844-790-9191. And here's why I say give them a call. They want to inform you first. They want to have a conversation with you, answer your questions, talk about your concerns, any questions, any concerns you have. They want to make sure you're informed before you do this. So give them a call. Allegiance Gold, 844-790-9191, or go to protectwithowen.com. And the sooner you do it, the better, because right now they're offering $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. It can be through your 401k, IRA, savings account, whatever. $5,000 in free gold and silver with qualified investments. But as gold and silver continue to skyrocket, that $5,000 worth is getting less and less and less. So you might want to do it sooner than later. And for somebody like me that played in the stock market this year for the first time, I'm looking at 2026 and I'm not so confident. So I'm thinking about transferring out of that. But that's what I'm thinking about. You might be thinking about it too. So if you have any other questions, give a call to my friends at Allegiance Gold, 844-790-9191, or go to protectwithowen.com. Protect your wealth and freedom because no one else will. So where are all the arrests? Epstein clients, pedophiles, kitty rapers. Where are all the arrests? And now Ro Khanna is warning Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi gets jail time warning over Epstein files cover-up. Attorney General Pam Bondi has been threatened with jail time if she doesn't cough up the full Epstein files by Friday's deadline. Democrat Representative Ro Khanna made the point on Thursday that if Bondi doesn't reach the deadline by the end of tonight, that's midnight tonight, she belongs in jail. Are you going to stand in the way? Are you going to support Bondi? I'm not. Khanna, whose Epstein Transparency Act spearheaded the charge towards the release, said, let me be very clear. We need a full release. Anyone who tampers with documents or conceals documents or engages in excessive redaction will be prosecuted because of the obstruction of justice. And so here we go. Here we go. Because what did I say? And maybe this is the first big test. But what did I say? All of the MAGA fighters, all of the people that actually went through the barbed wire and were on the front lines and dealt with it for 10 years supporting Trump, they're not going to be there. If Pam Bondi gets arrested for not releasing the Epstein files, you think I'm going to go to D.C.? You think I'm going to show up outside of the courtroom? You think I'm going to go to the hearing and stand up in defense of Pam Bondi? Of course not. Not even close. And do you think anybody will? Who will? If Pam Bondi gets arrested for not releasing the Epstein files, who is going to defend her? Who's going to have a rally in D.C.? Who's going to be outside of the courtroom? Who's going to be doing a press conference? Who's going to be standing up at the hearings? Anyone? Anybody going to volunteer for that? Anybody going to go to jail for Pam Bondi? Anybody going to risk jail time and arrest for Pam Bondi? She'll just be the first. And so this is what I've been warning them. All these fighters that fought for Donald Trump in the streets, they're not going to be there. And all the sunshine patriots that love the access and love taking the pictures and getting the paraphernalia and celebrating how cool they are now, do you really think they're going to fight? Do you really think they're going to stick their neck out? Well, I guess we'll find out. This could be the first test of that. This could be test number 1. But I'll tell you right now, it ain't going to be me. I'll be watching Pam Bondi get cuffs put on and shoved into the jail, and I'll say, that's a shame. Guess you shouldn't have covered for pedophiles. Guess you shouldn't have covered up for pedophiles and kitty rapists and sex slavers. I guess you should have made deep state arrests. I guess you should have exposed the pedophile network, the satanic pedophile network that owns our country and runs the world, which, by the way, Vladimir Putin just called out in another interview. That's right. How many interviews have you seen Vladimir Putin do now where he says there is a satanic cult of pedophiles that run the world? He just did another one. I think that's at least 3. Who else talks like that? Oh, now you know why the pedophile-controlled Western world hates Putin so much. Now you know why the pedophile, blackmailed, satanic world that runs the West is so against Vladimir Putin and Russia. Now you start to get it. Who will fight for Pam Bondi? I wonder, will Trump? Epstein document drama, full release of Epstein files won't happen today in breach of Trump law, but thousands of docs expected in partial dump. So they're going to try to say, oh, well, we gave you something. And they're going to say, no. And I don't think they have the votes, guys. I think there are enough Republicans that don't want to be associated with covering up the Epstein files. I think there are enough Republicans that don't want to be involved in covering up for child rapists and covering up for sex slavers and covering up for the blackmail networks and the Epstein networks. I think there are enough Republicans that whenever this stuff goes to a vote, like it just did, I don't think they have the votes to protect this, folks. I don't think they have the votes in Congress. And I don't think they ever will anymore. I think it's over. I think the numbers are not in their favor, and they're never going to be in their favor again. Donald Trump's administration has said it will not fully release the files related to the disgraced pedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein today. Today is the deadline for the long-awaited release of the files, whose publication was mandated by the Epstein Files Transparency Act passed by Congress. I'm telling you, folks, the administration does a halfway decent job as far as the public is concerned, kind of covering this up, kind of covering this rift up. But it's losing its luster fast, and I don't know if they're going to be able to cover it up much longer. And now that they don't have the votes in Congress, more Republicans are going to turn on the administration, at least on this specific issue. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said the Department of Justice would not be releasing the full Epstein files to Congress today. So that's just straight up illegal. The Trump administration will now be in breach of the law passed overwhelmingly by Congress and signed by the president himself last month. Blanche said the DOJ will release several 100,000 documents today from the investigation into his crimes, with more files to be published over the coming weeks. But he explained the department was making sure that the identities of the victims were redacted from the records, hence the delay. Now, folks, they can't live on this forever. Okay? They can't live on this. We're protecting the identities of the victim. They can't live on this forever. The administration has been in there for almost a year, this one, and the administration had already been in there for multiple years when Epstein was arrested and killed in prison. So this the files have been there. You can't claim that you still need time to redact them anymore. That's just total bullshit. And nobody's buying it. And they're trying to live off this forever. There's nothing left there. You're out of time. So they're saying, well, we got to redact. Same old story. Well, maybe we'll give you some more later. Now, here's what I anticipate. And I'll tell you, this is where I'm at now, folks. This is where I'm at now. But I don't think I'm going to be alone. Now, I don't know if you would say I'm cheerleading this cause. I'm just telling you where my mind is going, and I feel like other people are going to eventually go there, or if they haven't already, which is we're going to have to start reviewing the first administration now. If this administration continues to cover up the Epstein files and continues to prioritize foreign and special interests, then we're going to have to go back in time from the first administration and say, okay, maybe it's time to reevaluate some of that. Because and I'll be even more specific. I'll put myself on the spot here. I'll say I instead of we. I ran cover for Donald Trump. I gave Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt in the first administration when Epstein died in prison and when Trump did all the COVID tyranny and the masks and Operation Warp Speed and crashed the economy with the shutdown and the stimulus and the PPE. I ran cover for Trump. And even though I was against it at the time, my coverage was against all of it at the time, I still ran cover and gave him the benefit of the doubt and said, we got to vote for him again. We got to get him back in there. He's our best option. They stole the election from him, so it's the right thing to do, even though I don't like how he handled it. So I will admit that. I would say, I don't know if I'm willing to say I got it wrong per se, and maybe that's a stubbornness in me. But no, I'm now looking at this whole thing and I'm saying, okay, maybe now I do need to go back and review the first administration and start reevaluating some things and asking some questions. You know, Epstein was brought in while Trump was president. Epstein was brought in and killed in prison while Trump was president, folks. That's true. That's just a fact. And at first, the interpretation was, well, that's a good thing. That's the Trump administration arresting the prolific pedophile sex trafficker. Okay, that's a positive for Trump. And now I'm reviewing it, and I'm thinking maybe that was to get him in there so they could kill him. Because think about it. Folks, Epstein had already been through the court system multiple times. Epstein had already been through the court system multiple times. He'd already been in and out of prison. They already ran the docket with Epstein multiple times. They already knew all of this. But maybe Epstein lost his value and became more of a threat. Because if you look at what Epstein was doing, that's old hat now. That's old school. They don't need to have a party at a mansion in the 1980s to bring you in and get you drunk and get you in bed with a 16-year-old girl on tape and say, hey, you're one of us now. They don't need to do that anymore. Everybody walks around with their camera right here. You get yourself in trouble now. They don't need to trick you into cheating on your wife. They don't need to trick you into having gay sex or whatever. They don't need to trick you into sleeping with a minor. All they got to do now is just follow you around. Just follow your internet activity. Oh, he's married. Well, he keeps going over to this whorehouse. Oh, he's married. Hey, he keeps going over with his hooker. Oh, he's married. He keeps going to a gay bathhouse. Oh, look at what he looked at online. Oh, look at the websites he went to online. Oh, look at what he was viewing. Look at what he's into. They don't need to trick you into sleeping with a minor. They don't need to trick you into sleeping in a same-sex relationship. They don't need to trick you into sleeping with somebody that's not your spouse. They just need to follow the people around, and eventually they'll find the people that do that, and then they got you. So maybe Epstein lost his value, and they needed to get rid of him. And so they did. And if you're Bongino or Patel, and maybe you're genuinely curious about this, and maybe you genuinely want to get to the bottom of the truth, but there's only so much you can do. There's only so much that's even left for you to look at and review from the thing. And maybe you have a meeting with Trump, and Trump says, hey, look, we got to drop this thing. It's bad for the administration. We got to drop this thing. It's bad for morale. It's a distraction. We can't do what we need to do. And maybe they go along with it, and they're team players. Or maybe if I'm being more conspiratorial, Trump goes in there and says, hey, look, yeah, we killed him. We killed him. He was a monster, and so we killed him. All right? We just need to be rid of him. We had to be rid of him. He was a monster, so we got rid of him. So Bongino and Patel are like, oh, okay, we executed a monster. All right. Well, that's that. When things don't add up, they're corrupt. And nothing adds up in this story anymore. So now I'm just reviewing the whole thing. Musk says Trump is in the files. Susie Wiles says Trump is in the files. Trump is obviously in the files. Now, I'm not insinuating. In fact, I don't even necessarily believe Trump did anything illegal. I don't think Trump is sleeping with minors. I don't think Trump is doing anything illegal. If he was doing financial crimes, they'd already have him. You'd already know it. So I don't think Trump was doing anything illegal, but he might have been doing something. He was definitely hanging out with Epstein. So maybe there's something there. But here's why. Here's what the last 2 weeks, I think, has told us. And this is why it's like we have to review now and kind of shift everything. Because to me, the message from the last 2 weeks from this administration and Donald Trump himself is that he's not one of us, folks. He's not one of us. He's not with us. He's not for us. And so if he's not one of us, does that mean he's one of them?
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
You found your political compass, the Owen Report.
All right, second hour of today's transmission. I got some other news I want to get to. I got a ton of leftovers. Too much, quite frankly. I really want to try to take calls today. I'd like to do more than an hour of calls. So let's just kind of go with the flow of it and start to get through the rest of today's news, which is not too much of a stack left, but a ton of leftovers. So let's go with the flow of it. Let's get through the rest of today's news, maybe look at some of these leftovers, decide what we want to get into before we open the phone lines. Because I am curious what you guys think about all of this. And there's just so much damn news now that we really don't take many calls. But when we do, they're good, and the lines are starting to get lit up by new callers, too. So it's always good to hear new people calling in, new audience members. You know, I'd like to say something real quick, though. I'd like to just say, Merry Christmas. Are you in the Christmas spirit yet? I feel like it's a little delayed this year. I feel like there's something kind of holding it back, if you will. Maybe it's because the people that run this country don't believe in Jesus Christ as the Messiah. Maybe it's because the people that run this country don't want you to have a nativity scene. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But it feels a little less than usual. What do you think? Is it a little less than usual? And we're getting some of the Epstein files right now. And they are quite literally all redacted, folks. I'm not talking about literally nothing but redactions. So what do we do? Arrest Pam Bondi. Arrest Pam Bondi. All right, the hair is too much today. I'm putting on the hat. The hair keeps getting in my eyes. We're going with the hat. There you go. It matches the attire today, too, so this is a strategic development. Get your Still Alive FM hat. If you like the hat, get yours at owenschroyer.store. All right, here we go into the news. No arrests here either. Fulton County. This is Atlanta, Georgia. We all remember what happened there in 2020. We all saw it. We don't dispute 315,000 votes lacking poll worker signatures were counted in 2020. That's who knows how many there actually were, how many illegal votes there actually were, but that was enough to swing the election. They stole the 2020 election. Donald Trump talks about it all the time, and nobody's been arrested. Now, again, I summarize now that Trump let them steal the election, which is so weird. You review the whole thing, and Trump was upset about it at the time, and he at least he seemed like he was trying to stop the steal, and then the rest is history. But it ended up working well for Trump. It ended up working out better for Trump that they stole the election, because then Biden got to deal with the collapse of the economy that was caused by COVID instead of Trump. And so Trump gets to blame the COVID economy collapse, which really started in his last year of 2020. So he gets to blame the whole thing on Biden. But how do you have this administration in full recognition that the election was stolen in 2020 and nobody's been arrested, and we can barely even get significant reform passed as far as elections are concerned? We should not have a single mail-in ballot, and we should get rid of the voting machines altogether. Why is it so hard? And then Trump endorses this guy, and Brandon Herrera is who this guy is running against. Brandon Herrera, very popular in right-wing politics in Texas. This guy is not. Trump endorsed Tony Gonzalez over Second Amendment champion Brandon Herrera. Why does Trump endorse the worst rhinos? He has a 58% on the Liberty score. This is who Trump endorses now. So it's like Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene. They have an A. They have an A in the Liberty score. He doesn't endorse them. He doesn't ride with them. He endorses this clown with a 58% Liberty score instead of Brandon Herrera, who's very popular in Texas. And I got to tell you, obviously I live in Texas, so I'm closer to this. Texas Republicans, Texas conservatives are so sick of the GOP establishment here. The Texas GOP might as well be Democrats. Republicans here, it's like they'll go and vote for Greg Abbott if there's no other option, but they don't like him. Republicans in Texas can't stand Greg Abbott. And Brandon Herrera is very popular in Texas and conservative politics. And Trump just let the entire Republican voter base in Texas know that he doesn't stand with us. So he endorses Greg Abbott, who we don't like. And he endorses Gonzalez, who we don't like. So that's just bad advice. That's just somebody giving him bad advice. Or Trump's just not one of us. He's just not one of us, and he's just letting us know he's not with us anymore. He's with the swamp. All right, I want to go to this Aiden Ross stuff. So a little context in case you don't know. Earlier this week, Aiden Ross had Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua on his show, and they were just having some fun, cutting up, whatever, talking trash. And Aiden suggests a new touchdown celebration for Puka Nacua, who's one of the best receivers in the league, scores tons of touchdowns. And the touchdown celebration was this meme, which I'm sure Puka Nacua had no idea about, by the way. It's like if you're not fully embedded in kind of the digital political sphere, then you really don't know this stuff. But he gets Puka Nacua to do the meme, the merchant hands, the merchant Jewish meme. And I'm sure Puka had no idea what it was. But he gets him to do it on this stream, and they're all laughing. And it's like you got an Indian up there, you got a Jewish person up there, you got a Polynesian person up there, and they're just laughing, having fun, whatever on the stream. They're a bunch of 20-year-olds. Aiden Ross is 25, Puka Nacua is 24. They're young guys. So they're laughing, having fun, and it's, oh my gosh, Puka Nacua, anti-Semitic. He needs to apologize. This, that, and the other thing. Now, the funny thing is, and this is like the big reveal. But this is why I give a lot of credit to Aiden Ross as I'm watching this, because this is the big reveal. Notice how nobody's demanding Aiden Ross apologize. Notice how nobody's giving any heat to Aiden Ross for doing the hands. Nobody's giving Aiden Ross a hard time for making Puka Nacua do it. No, Puka's the bad guy. And he doesn't even know. He's just like, oh, this is funny. He's like, what's your touchdown celebration? He's like, this is how you do it. And he's like, oh, okay. So Aiden Ross is allowed to do it. So is this like the new N-word? Like only a Jew can do this. No one else is allowed to do this. Only a Jew. As if nobody rubs their hands together. As if this hasn't been a meme or a cultural thing in TV or cartoons for anybody. It's just more recently in the political internet culture that meme has developed in the last couple of years. But no, I guess so. The only person that is allowed to do this now is a Jewish person. Nobody else is allowed to do this now. You have to be Jewish. It's like nobody else is allowed to use the N-word. It's like, oh my gosh, can you imagine a white person doing this and saying the N-word? Oh my gosh. Don't give Nick any ideas. Don't give Aiden any ideas. So then Puka has to come out and issue an apology. And just to give you an idea of how little they think about this, folks, Puka was actually in official NFL attire while he did this. And it's actually even funnier. And I haven't heard anybody else mention this. And it's probably just my sports background that I see this stuff. But I didn't see anybody else mention this. So Puka Nacua is in his official NFL attire when he's on Aiden Ross's show. But here's what's even funnier. Do you know, see if you have it in your mind, if you can recall, if you have a strong photographic memory, you might be able to pin this down and pass this test. Do you know what it said on Puka Nacua's hoodie that he was wearing? He had a Rams hoodie on, an NFL hoodie on. Do you know what it actually said on his hoodie? It said, inspire change. And this is one of these social justice propaganda talking points that the NFL likes to put on their merchandise, and they put it on their fields. They put it in the end zone. They put it on the jerseys. They put it on the hats. They put it on the hoodies. And it's, and really the message is, white people are bad and we don't like white people. So we're going to inspire change and we're going to make sure everybody hates white people now. That's what's really driving it. But it's, we're inspiring change. We're stopping hate. Inspire change and stop hate. So it just shows you how empty all of this is. It just shows you how worthless and meaningless all of this is. And so at Puka Nacua, he's not thinking like, he's just putting on a hoodie he got. They give the athletes 100 articles of clothing so that they can wear it everywhere, endorse the NFL, endorse the brand. So Puka Nacua isn't putting on the Inspire Change hoodie thinking about, I'm a social justice warrior. I have a message. I'm stopping hate. I'm inspiring change. He's just throwing on a hoodie. It doesn't mean anything. It's me. All of this stuff has lost all of its meaning on the youth. It means nothing. So it's ironic. Puka Nacua is wearing the Inspire Change, Stop Hate hoodie. It means nothing. It's just another hoodie that they give him. And then he's in there. It's hilarious. The whole thing is hilarious. And Aiden Ross is handling this like a champ. Puka Nacua is handling this like a champ. I don't I don't buy sports merchandise anymore. I don't buy sports uniforms anymore. I'm a grown man. But part of me wants to go buy a Nakua jersey just to support him, just to let him know that, hey, buddy, we're with you. We like you. So here's Aiden Ross, though. Listen to some of the recent commentary from Aiden Ross in the aftermath of this. And I don't know too much about Aiden. Obviously, I've heard his name before. He's got a big following on social media, but I don't know much about him. I don't really follow his work. But everything I've seen in the aftermath of this, I got to say, I like Aiden Ross. He seems like a stand-up guy, a loyal friend, logically consistent, cool, fun. This has been a total Aiden Ross W. So here's some of the latest in the aftermath after Puka Nacua has to go on the apology tour and pay his fine. Here's some of the stuff Aiden Ross is saying.
With McVay regarding what happened during the Coach has just echoed that he's a...
Hey, did he actually get fined? Can you show me the... If he does, I'm paying his fine, by the way. I'm making it very clear. I'm paying his fucking fine. I'm paying his fine. Yo, bro, I will pay his fine proudly and gladly. Did he actually?
Always in continuous support with McVay regarding...
Yes, he did get fined $25,000. And I do expect Aiden Ross to pay that. And who knows, maybe he'll gift Puka a watch or something too, just to really rub their nose in it. No pun intended. Stop. 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 Aiden Ross will pay the $25,000 fine, and then he's going to gift Puka Nacua a car just to rub their nose in it. Stop. Now, here's another one for you. This sports media is so pathetic. Sean McVay after the game, and it was a huge game, by the way. Big drama. This may be the biggest game of the year. Between the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams, both came in 11-3. It's close to the end of the season. They're fighting for a division title. They're fighting for the number 1 seed, home field advantage, the bye week. So this was a monster game. And then Seattle wins in overtime in a monster game, an unbelievable game. And then the first question, with all of this in the background, the division title, the home field advantage, the first round bye, and with all of that in a massive game, in a classic game that goes 38-37 in overtime, and the first question Sean McVay gets asked by the media is, what about Puka Nacua's statements? Pathetic sports media. Bunch of worms. Just like the political media. Bunch of worms. Bunch of scum. And, you know, I can't even imagine, because Sean McVay is a young guy. So is McDonald of the Seahawks. Both of those coaches are young guys. I guarantee you they stand in solidarity with their players on this deal. I guarantee you they're standing in solidarity with their players. Now, what has the response been? And this is where it starts to get telling. And this is why I'm trying to keep you up to date and informed on where the youth is. I can't believe this is true. I'm an old man now compared to NFL players. I'm a 36-year-old man. So I'm like, I'd be the oldest guy in the NFL, basically. So I'm like an old man. These players are in their 20s. These players are young guys. These are young guys. So you have to understand. Listen to what Aiden Ross says next, folks. I'm telling you, this is not working on the youth. This is not working on the youth. This isn't going over like the Kyrie Irving apology tour a couple years ago. It's a new world now. It's a different world now. And these young guys ain't having it. And eventually, and I'm not saying that this is, maybe it's the beginning of something, but eventually these players are going to take a stand. And they're going to say, you know what? We can say whatever the hell we want. We're Americans. Okay? And if you don't like what we have to say, then don't listen. And this is where maybe you start to get a problem with the NFL, because eventually the attitude is going to be, if you don't like what we have to say and you don't want to watch the games, then turn off the TV. We don't care. And that should be the attitude. And that will actually increase ratings and increase support. People are sick of the NFL going left and going woke. Now, I would say that the NFL survived most of that. The Shield has come out maybe with some damage, but it's made it. But listen to what Aiden Ross says. So this is the aftermath. So it's not the players are, tucking and running. It's not the players are like, covering their faces here. Apparently, it's the exact opposite. Listen to what Aiden Ross says the aftermath from the players has been.
One of the best games of the year, and the press opens up asking, yeah, dude, I think it's retarded. What did Scuba send? They hate you. I'm talking a lot of NFL players right now, bro. You'd be surprised. A lot of these guys are really fucking cool, and they all fucking fuck with streaming and shit.
Speaking of
The NFL players are reaching out to Aiden Ross. Don't be surprised if others do a stream with him. So what is the NFL going to do? Is the NFL going to tell its athletes they can't do live streams? Is the NFL going to come out with some policy for players that they can't do live streams? I don't know. That's going to be tough because a lot of these players do their own podcast on the side, by the way. A lot of these players kind of have their own media ventures on the side. And it raises popularity of the NFL and it sells NFL apparel. So it's like that kind of is good for the product. It's good for the brand. So what are they going to do now? Oh, you're going on with Aiden Ross? Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't that a little anti-Semitic, actually, that you won't let an NFL player go on with Aiden Ross? That seems a little anti-Semitic, I think. Maybe you shouldn't be so nosy and getting into their personal lives. Stop. So I wonder how this is going to go now. I wonder what this culture war is going to happen here because what's going to happen with this culture war because I think the players are going to be standing with Puka Nacua if it even is a big issue. I don't know. If it even is a locker room talk, if it even is a field conversation. But I will tell you, and I'm not as ingrained with the youth, obviously, as an Aiden Ross is, but I will tell you from my experience, there are a lot of athletes that are into conspiracy theories. There are a lot of athletes that are into conspiracy theory. And I mean, you could say right-wing politics, but it's more just like they understand how corrupt politics are. They understand how corrupt the establishment are. They think like me. They think like you. They think like us. They talk like us. Oh, yeah. But they mostly stay silent and they don't want to get controversial and it's not really their field of expertise. And, they want to win games. I'm wondering if there's some cracks there. I'm wondering if maybe something is about to break big on this deal. And it's kind of, you could argue that Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee have kind of already broke that ground. But those are older guys, those are older guys. Those are guys that are in their 30s and 40s. Maybe they're both in their 40s now. But, those are older guys. Those are kind of older, old school guys where it's like, oh, wow, that's a little more edgy for them to do it. For these younger guys, it could just become the norm. Oh, yeah, guys. Oh, yeah. Professional athletes are very much into conspiracy theory culture. They're very much into streaming culture, as Aiden said. So let's see if a couple other NFL players don't pop up on his streams and how that goes, and then how the NFL responds. Now, they already fined Puka Nacua $25,000, so that could be, sending a message like you better not. But some of these guys just might say, screw it. I'm doing it for the culture. I got a feeling something's building. I got a feeling that there's something going there. And, the NFL is already kind of trying to address it. But they're probably underestimating just how big it might get. So that's kind of the warning shot. Like, oh, all right, fine him $25,000, make him issue an apology. I don't think that's going to be enough to shut these young guys up. I don't think so, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Have you done this yet? Have you gone to patriot-protect.com/Owen and protected your personal private information? Have you done it, folks? Now, there's all kinds of ways people can get a hold of your private information. There was a recent Gmail breach that exposed millions of people's personal data. You may have heard about that. Whistleblowers were sounding the alarms on a massive Gmail breach that hit 183 million user accounts. So that includes passwords that started circulating online, bank account information, other private personal information. And Google tried to downplay the severity of the breach, but nonetheless, it did happen. And so these leaked Gmail logins came from criminals compiling people's personal information from data brokers, people search sites, and public databases. And that's just one thing. That's just a Gmail thing. There's all kinds of ways people can get this stuff, folks. And when you've been through it, you realize how easy it is. And so right now, your address, phone number, workplace, family members might be out there. That information, your private, personal information, your family might be out there right now sitting on the open web. You'd be surprised how easy it is. Trust me, I had to go through it. This is fuel for scammers, hackers, and anyone who wants to target you. That's why Patriot Protect, our friends at Patriot Protect exist. They fix the problem at its root. They don't want your private information being exposed online, and neither do you. So Patriot Protect removes the exposure. They scrub the internet for personal information, Google search results, 100+ data broker and people search sites, hidden databases, and feed scammers. They will automatically remove any personal information of yours that gets repopulated on all of these sites. It's 24/7 protection. 24/7 protection. And by the way, if you've noticed this uptick in like scam calls and robocalls, many, in fact, 90% of Patriot Protect users are reporting a drop in scam and robocalls just 1 month after signing up. So that's kind of a bonus deal right there. Nice little bonus thing. Don't have these people bothering you on the phone anymore. But folks, trust me from experience, you don't want to go through this. Okay? You don't want to go through this. I had to deal with it. My family had to deal with it. So it's one thing. It's like when it's me, it's like, all right, I live my life. But when it's your family, you don't want to be responsible for that. Go to patriot-protect.com. Get your private information, get your personal information offline. 24/7 protection from our friends at patriot-protect.com/Owen. All right, a couple other things for today. I don't even want to give context to this. I'll just let you listen to this lady, and you can make up your mind. She's upset though. She's upset because the Muslim man that saved lives at Bondi Beach, she's upset that he had a successful fundraiser. Oh yeah, literally. Listen.
We need to talk about something that Jews do that no other group does. After the Bondi Beach attack, a GoFundMe for Ahmed Al-Ahmed, the man who tackled one of the gunmen, has raised $2.5 million. A GoFundMe for the Jewish victims and their families has raised less than that. Now, this is not a competition, but it is revealing. Ahmed Al-Ahmed is a hero, full stop. He saved lives and deserves credit for that. But notice this, in every conversation or press piece about lives and deserves credit for that. But notice this, in every conversation or press piece about the Bondi Beach massacre, his name is mentioned along with the victims. Can you imagine this happening to any other ethnic group? When another community is attacked, the attention stays on the victims and their families, not on the one outsider who stepped in. Only Jews do this. We bend over backwards to show that we are fair and grateful, often at the expense of our own people. When a GoFundMe for the man that stopped the attackers raises more.
This is comedy, right? This is comedy. I mean, that's one of the funniest jokes I've ever heard in my life. If it's not just outright pathetic, this has to be one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Not on the one outsider who stepped in. Only Jews do this. We bend over backwards to show that we are fair and grateful, often at the expense of our own people. When a GoFundMe for the man that stopped the attackers raises more money than the GoFundMe for the Jewish victims and their families, framing matters. And it says a lot about whose pain we center and whose we brush past. And when we normalize that, we're not being fair or generous. We're actually showing the world that Jewish victims come second.
Oh, yeah. Everyone agrees with that. Jews don't get enough sympathy, enough support. You know, they don't have all the charities. They say, oh, it's a Christian Jewish charity. All the money goes to Jews. Yeah, everybody agrees. Jews are not getting enough support, not enough attention. They're not getting prioritized enough. I mean, that's incredible. That is truly incredible. Well, here's somebody that probably disagrees with that lady. Listen to what this lady says. And I got to say, I don't know if I fully agree, but I think directionally, I think a lot of people are starting to feel the same way.
Hey, Zionist Christians that are so afraid of their Muslim brothers and sisters. Guess what? You guys should start looking at what's happening to Gaza because you're next. We're next. That's a testing ground. They're just testing on those people, but it's coming for us too. Watch. You think they're your allies. Well, someone else let them come to their land, and look how that worked out for them. So in all this division they're creating, you're next, and they're allowed to be as evil as they want to be. And yeah, you should go look at what's happening. It's coming for us. And you think.
Now, I don't think, well, I don't know, actually. I mean, maybe. I don't know if Israel plans on bombing the entire planet. I don't know if I'd put it past the Netanyahu regime. They might think about it. They might talk about it. But I don't know if I think Israel will bomb the entire planet. But I do think that the AI and the tactics that Israel are using right now with Palantir and others, I do believe that this is a big test for that. And I do believe the Palantir tech and whatever else Israel is doing to target their enemies in Iran or Jordan or anywhere else, I do believe that all of that is a test that they will eventually bring here. I do agree with that. Now, what I bet on Israel bombing the whole planet? I don't know. I don't know if I'd bet against it either. But, we go back to the lady who says it's just not enough. Jews just never get enough. And it's really sad that the Muslim hero that saved people's lives is raising money. That's really bad. It should all go to Jews. And so, here's what happens. This is a BBC News report. And let's check this out.
My name is Khalil. I am 7 years old and I have cancer.
In 2022, 7-year-old Khalil from the Philippines was diagnosed with leukemia. His mother was desperate to raise money for his treatment.
A huge amount of money was really needed for Khalil's medication because the hospital didn't have a stock of medicines.
A local scout approached the family offering help on behalf of an organization the BBC has identified as CHOQ Supplements. It's registered in Israel and the US.
Next week, please be very available. If Khalil's hair grows back, you'll need to shave it again.
Don't want to die.
Khalil was made to practice a script that made him plead for his life.
Please help me.
Then they filmed a video for an online fundraising campaign.
Help me.
It raised more than $27,000. But the family only received $700 on the day of filming. It was given to them in cash by another man linked to Chancellor Tikva.
I was really disappointed because the foreigner made lots of promises, but none of it came true.
BBC Eye Investigations has identified this man as Erez Hadari, an Israeli man living in Canada, a key player behind several scam fundraising campaigns. We've spoken to 9 families across 5 continents that were also targeted. They have never received any of the $4 million that appear to have been raised in their children's names.
Because a little bit of light pushes a lot.
Only 4 million? Why isn't it 6?
Erez Hadari and Chancellor Tikva did not respond to the allegations.
It happened suddenly. It felt like my whole world shattered.
Khalil died at the age of 8. His family unable to afford potentially life-saving care.
Now, wait till you figure out that Israel has been scamming the whole world, specifically you in the United States of America, and we are figuring it out, and that's why a lot of this stuff is happening today, quite frankly. That's why a lot of this stuff is happening today. And if there's a parallel, it's everything we just went through with the radical left and the big reveal of the radical left and the indoctrination of the youth and the trans kids, the border invasion, all of this stuff that got revealed from the radical left that had this massive awakening in the last 4 years and led to a giant political movement. Now, basically that's happening with the Israeli lobby and the radical nature of it. The radical nature of the Israeli lobby is being exposed now, just like the radical left was exposed in the last 4 years. And so, of course, people are turning against it and want nothing to do with it, and they want it out of their country. And so that's why you see this backlash. That's why you see the pushback. That's why you see what's going on with TPUSA. That's why you see what's going on with Puka Nakua. That's why you see what's going on with Ben Shapiro and the rest of the desperation from the Israeli lobby. That's what's going on. Hey, I saw this story today, and it actually made me think of something else. Well, I've been thinking this, how running tricks your brain into overestimating time. A study published in Scientific Reports has revealed that running alters how we perceive time. Researchers note that the effect is driven by the mental demands of controlling movement rather than physical exertion. Human perception of time rarely aligns perfectly with clock time. Everyday experiences, such as waiting in line or enduring a monotonous task, can feel longer than they truly are. Research has shown that physical activity, including cycling, walking, and running, can influence these distortions of time. Well, okay, we all hear about time flies when we're having fun. But I'm wondering, because I've been thinking this, and I'm wondering what you guys think about this. Does it feel like time is shrinking? I don't know how else to say this, and I sound crazy. I accept that. I feel crazy. But does it feel like time is compressing or something? It feels like the days are shorter. And I'm not talking about sunlight. I don't know. It's weird. But I feel like I have a pretty strong scheduled routine. I'm a very I like a rugged schedule. I like having a schedule. I like having my days scheduled. I like that consistency. It's how I get things done. I have my routine, my daily routine. But I feel like my routine hasn't really changed, but I feel like I have less time every day. Does anybody else feel this way? Am I going crazy? I might be. I accept I might be, but I can't. It's weird. It's like I've had the same schedule, but I feel like I have less time to do it now. It's very strange. Does anybody else feel that way? Is it just me? Am I the only one going through this crap? It's all right. You can call in and call me crazy. I won't take it personally. It's fine. It's fine. It'll actually be a good it'll be a good argument when the Trump administration tries to put me in prison for speech crime. When Chuck Schumer tries to put me in prison for speech crime, I'll just plea I'm crazy. I'll just plea I'm insane, and so that's going to be my excuse now. When the Trump administration does the free speech imprisonment, I'm just going to plea insanity because I'm obviously crazy. I think time is shrinking. So you can't blame me. It's not my fault. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. I'm going to pile drive here for the next 15 minutes, and then we're going to do the last hour of calls. So I'm going to do as much news as I can here in the last 15 minutes with the leftovers, and then we'll open up the phone lines before we sign off for this week. New Trump tariffs collection hits $200 billion, Customs says. So, folks, I've been telling you this. Have I not been saying this? All these numbers that Trump is throwing out there, they literally don't exist, folks. He's literally just making them up. Or it's like they had a chart or they had a goal or some threshold, whatever it is, and they said 18 trillion or whatever. The money doesn't exist, folks. I'm telling you, it's not there. All the signs are all around you. All this big talk about all the money and the tariffs and investments, folks, it is literally not there. It is not there. The United States has collected more than $200 billion in tariffs this year as a result of new duties imposed by President Trump. That tally comes as the Supreme Court considers arguments that the new tariffs are illegal. Folks, he's literally just making up numbers. I don't know where he gets these numbers. There's no government data to suggest it. The government data that they just gave us on inflation was cooked numbers. Now, in fairness, they were dealing with the government shutdown, so they weren't able to get all the numbers. Well, that's the excuse. It's probably fair. But they couldn't get all the data because of the government shutdown. And by the way, of course, inflation is going to go down during the government shutdown because the government people aren't getting paid, and so the inflation goes down. But they're like, oh, 2.7 inflation. Those were fake numbers. They don't have the data. They don't have the data. The government was shut down. There's no data. They just used 3 data points out of 100 and said, oh, it's 2.7. It's the same thing here. Oh, we've brought in $1 trillion. We brought in $18 trillion. It doesn't exist. We've brought in all of this money. It doesn't exist. He's just making it up. And now Israel is having to bail out NVIDIA because the money doesn't exist. And so first NVIDIA said, okay, well, Trump, we've done a lot for you here. We're trying to invest and get the return on investment, but there's nothing. So we got to go into China. And so the Trump administration said, all right, you can go into China. So NVIDIA tries to get into China. China says, nope, not interested. So NVIDIA goes back to the Trump administration and says, China rejected me. Where can we go? We got to build a campus. We got to build parts. We got to sell chips. We can't do it here, Trump. It doesn't exist. We can't get it done. So Trump says, all right, go into Israel. I'll give them a call. We'll cut you a deal through Israel. And then that's what happened with NVIDIA. They're just making numbers up, folks. And the Trump cult, they just eat up the slop. They just eat up the slop. The Trump administration has sanctioned the criminal court, the International Criminal Court, for going after Netanyahu. So that's nice. So Trump is using the power of the White House to protect Netanyahu. And Trump is using the power of the United States of America to fight for the oil companies with the military. That's good. That's great. All right, this is a crazy one. Listen to what Zelensky said this week. Tell me how you interpret this statement from Vladimir Zelensky.
The United States have their policy. They don't see us in NATO. For now. Everything in our lives is for now. Maybe the position will change in the future. Maybe somebody will come to realize that strong Ukrainian army strengthens NATO, not vice versa. Politicians change. Somebody lives, somebody dies. And it's life.
Was Vladimir Zelensky just suggesting that Trump might be dead soon, and so the support for Ukraine will go on? Is that what he just said? I mean, I don't think that's a far-fetched interpretation of that statement. Politicians die and things change. Why would he specifically say die? Now, folks, remember, Ryan Ruth, who tried to kill President Trump, visited Ukraine. Farmers block roads in Brussels to protest EU Mercosur-free trade deal. So there's massive protests happening in the EU right now over the farmers getting screwed by the EU and by their governments. Oh, let's check in on the loving Israelis here. A prank. Israel police detained suspect for shooting rubber bullets at Ashkelon kindergarten. a 6-year-old child reported being struck in the forehead while 2 other children said bullets were fired at them. Israeli police detained an 18-year-old for questioning over a complaint filed this week about a person who fired rubber bullets at a kindergarten in Ashkelon from a suspicious vehicle. So they're firing this at Palestinian children. It's a big joke to them. And they say, oh, it was just a prank. That's nice. That's nice from the Israelis. It's a prank to shoot at children. That's really funny. Well, if that's a prank, then imagine when they're serious. Must be fun over there, huh? Well, they're bringing it here now, folks. You now live in the Middle East. Israeli soldier commits suicide at military base, raising total to 61. And, you know, there have been different numbers reported here. And so it's my interpretation that 61 have committed suicide just at this base. So 61 have committed suicide at this base. You read on here. Shortly before that, the Israeli army said in a statement that a soldier had been seriously injured by gunfire at a military base in northern Israel and was taken to a hospital where he later died. On 28th of October this year, the official Israeli report issued by the Knesset Research Center and Information Center revealed that 279 soldiers had attempted suicide since the beginning of 2024. Now, there have been hearings in the Knesset, and there have been testimony from IDF soldiers that either knew and were friends with the people that committed suicide, or they're just reporting on the general morale. Again, this never makes it to Western media because your media is owned by the Israeli lobby. Your media is owned by the Netanyahu regime. So none of this makes it to Western media. Folks, these Israeli soldiers are killing themselves because they're so heartbroken over what's happening in Gaza. These Israeli soldiers are committing suicide because they feel so guilty over what's been happening in the Gaza Strip. Yeah. Crazy development in the Luigi Mangione case. I won't go to this video. I've got the video from outside the courtroom, but I'll just tell you. The lawyers have had a big victory. The defense has had a big victory in court. So they're getting evidence tossed left and right, folks. This case is getting wild. Now they're saying they have the cops. So, okay, illegally obtaining evidence and statements is like, well, okay. They illegally obtained the evidence and statements, but the evidence and the statements were at least real. Like, all right, they illegally obtained statements from Mangione and they illegally obtained evidence from Mangione, but it's like, okay, at least it's real and relevant. Well, now the defense is finding out too, and they're getting it in court, that cops actually made up statements that the parents said that the parents never even said. This is starting to go the way of the O.J. Simpson trial, folks, where there's so much bad activity from law enforcement that the case may end up going in Mangione's favor. It's starting to go that direction. So this thing is getting really dramatic by the day. Oh, you want to dunk on Randy Fine real quick? I always love dunking on Randy Fine. Whoa, did he delete the post? Hold on, let me see this. Did he delete this post? He deleted the post. Oh my gosh, Randy Fine deleted the post. I forget what the original post was, but it was something about, some moral high ground. Randy Fine, he's the moral superiority on culture. Because I think it was some leftist, some liberal, whatever, some left show or something. And Randy Fine was like, oh, we're better than this. Well, somebody dug this up. Randy Fine's wife performs in burlesque in sexually charged fundraiser for children alongside Rainbow Circus. Gotcha. Got him. Got him. So he deleted the post. Total victory for Henry Fjord here. Total victory. He got him. He got fined to delete the post. Wow. And how about from Ford here? Giving the old show a shout out too. How about that? All right. Didn't anticipate that, but we got it. All right. Hey, going back, remember that lady that was upset that the hero from the Bondi Beach shooting was fundraising? Well, here's one of the Jewish men that was a victim of that, speaking to the press. And he certainly doesn't share the same sentiment as that lady, who was not even there, by the way. So so her opinion shouldn't count for much. Here's somebody that was there. Here's what he had to say about the hero.
Ahmed Al-Ahmed. He saved my life and my 4-year-old's life. If Ahmed Al-Ahmed didn't stop that guy, he was coming to do absolute horror, further horror to what happened. And I can only say thank you to that Muslim brother that came and took it upon himself and risked his own life to save us from further. Ahmed.
Now here's what I love about this, and I wish the things in the aftermath of that weren't going the way they were, but we all know what it is. It's all territorialism. It's all, I want everything for me. I want all the money. I want all the attention. I want to be the bigger victim. So unfortunately, it looks like that's going to overwhelm. But I listened to that statement from that man, and I'm like, that's what we should be focusing on. That's the statement we should be focusing on right there. This could be the moment. This could be the moment where we can actually bring Jews and Muslims together and finally maybe work towards some peace and some harmony and say, hey, you know what? We have differences. We've had our differences over the years, but we're all sick of the fighting. We're all sick of the death. We all want to live in these communities together, peacefully, prospering with our families. I'm a Jew, and this Muslim saved my life and my kid's life, and I thank him for that, and I want to unite, and I want to bring peace, and I want to use this moment. I want to use this moment to bring the planet together, to bring Jews and Muslims together, stand for peace, stand for solidarity, and maybe finally stopping the hate and stopping the fighting and moving the ball in the right direction for once. That's a beautiful moment. That's what we should be focusing on. That's what we should be building up and putting momentum behind and echoing and amplifying. But did you see that anywhere else? Did you see that clip anywhere else? No, instead you have these women coming out here saying that Muslim man doesn't deserve the money he's getting. He doesn't deserve to be called the hero. You're sick. And then what do you think people are going to, when they see that, what do you think people are going to think about you? This could have been a beautiful moment for Jews and Muslims to come together. It could have been a beautiful moment to actually bring a group of people that have had their issues forever and maybe finally use this moment to say, you know what, we can stand together. And you know what, I, as a Muslim, I'll stand against radical Islam. I'm going to stand against Jew hatred. I'm going to stand against Jews being targeted just because they're Jews and they can't even go to the synagogue in peace. I stand against that. And I'm a Muslim, and I put my life on the line to save these innocent people. And then the Jewish man can say, that Muslim man is not my enemy. He's my hero. And you know what? Maybe I don't like some of the rhetoric that's being directed at him. And maybe I don't like some of the rhetoric that's being directed at my Muslim brothers, because you know what? They just want to live in peace and harmony just like me. It could have been a great moment. It could have been a moment of unity. It could have been a moment of love. And maybe we could finally turn the tide from this hatred and this war that's been going on forever. But did you hear that anywhere? Did anybody amplify that clip? Is anybody making a big deal and trying to bring these people together? All right. I'm going to do this. We're going to close the hour and take calls, like I said. But what did I tell you? What did I tell you at the beginning of the week? The attack at Bondi Beach was going to be used to come after the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. Never doubt me, folks. Never doubt me. So for the sake of time, I'll just tell you, Benjamin Netanyahu is demanding censorship for anti-Semitism. He's demanding it in the Western world. He's literally telling you, the Western world, that you can't have free speech because you need to protect Israel and protect Jews. The Australian government is going to come out and actually pass laws even stricter than the laws in the United States against anti-Semitism. This is all happening. And then Chuck Schumer goes to the floor of Congress and says this.
And separately, Congress must also take action against another poison of our age, that of rampant gun violence. Australia is no stranger to gun safety legislation. They famously took strong action in the 1990s.
And how did that work out?
Gun violence plummet. Yesterday, Australia's Prime Minister said the country will take another look at their gun safety laws and see where they can make improvements. If Australia can find courage to act after a tragedy like the one in Bondi Beach, Congress should certainly find the will to act after a tragedy like the one at Brown University.
What did I tell you? Never doubt me, folks. I told you the attack at Bondi Beach was going to be used to come after your First Amendment and your Second Amendment. Starting to get it? Never doubt me.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, I want to move fast here. So we can get as many calls in as possible. I've had people asking, what is this mug on my desk? And that's because it matches the aesthetic of the show. You know, I like gold. In case you haven't noticed, I like gold. So I got the gold mug. This mug is from our friends at Blackout Coffee, blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. It's the only place where you can get the official mug, the Don't Tread on Me mug, the Blackout Coffee mug with the Don't Tread on Me snake and the American flag. The only place you can get it, blackoutcoffee.com. And, of course, don't forget about our favorite thing over there at Blackout Coffee. And I love all their coffee, but there's no doubt my favorite is their premium instant coffee. That's my favorite. blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. Get your official Owen Report mug, the Don't Tread on Me gold mug, and get your premium instant coffee at blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. All right. Let's do this, shall we? Let's do this and open the phone lines. Folks, in case you're just joining us, they're not releasing the Epstein files. Pam Bondi should be arrested, and the files that they did release are all redacted. So they did a partial release. They released some stuff. The Democrats released a bunch of stuff, including Bill Clinton stuff, Bill Gates stuff, some Maxwell stuff, some other weird photos. So the partial release just happened. And you can look at, it looks like the big story that has this right now is at the Express. It's pinned on the Drudge Report. Epstein Files Live, flight logs, and masseuse lists released, plus new pics of stars. So, I mean, we'll wait and see. Here's Mick Jagger with Maxwell. Bill Clinton swimming in a pool with Maxwell. Michael Jackson in there. Oh, boy. Trump listed in contact book. So, but look, you can see a lot of this is still redacted. So it's kind of fresh. They didn't do a full release. They did a heavily redacted release. And then they outright said, we're not going to do a full release. And Congress came out and said, if they don't do a full release, we're going to arrest Pam Bondi. Why? Why are we covering up for Epstein? Why is this administration covering up for Epstein? What is it they're trying to hide? What is going on with this? And is Pam Bondi about to take the fall? And who's going to stand up for her if she does? Okay, let's do this. Phone lines are open. Phone lines are open on a Friday. Here we go. 747-255-60, 747-255-60. And we will take calls the rest of the way. First caller of the day. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, Owen, this is Albert from Pennsylvania.
Oh,
How's it
okay.
going, man?
All right, fake Albert. You've been practicing a little bit. All right, what do you got today?
Oh, Owen, this is no practice, Owen. This is Albert from Pennsylvania. You know this. We've been going on for a while now. Well,
you're angry.
Anyway,
me.
Owen. No, don't get angry at me, Owen. Look, check it out real quick. When it comes to this whole Israel thing and our generation, millennials, Gen Z, beyond, I really do think, Owen, that it's a wrap. We're not going to keep putting up with this shit for too much longer. It's a parasite on our future. It's a parasite on just everything we stand for. We can't keep doing this for too much longer. Even the law of physics, something's got to break somewhere.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you're right, but that's why I anticipate something big is going to come. The Israel lobby is not going to just let America free itself. The Israel lobby is not just going to let the fact that America subsidizes its existence and sacrifices its blood and treasure to protect Israel. They're not just going to let that go. They're not going to let that go. That's why I anticipate there's going to be a major event in a major desperate way to try to keep it going and then blame radical Islam and then clamp down, take away the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment. That's what I see happening. Next caller, what's your name, where you're from?
Hey, Owen, how's it going, man? Luke from Pennsylvania.
All right, Luke, what's up?
I just want to start off thanking you for everything you do and everything you've done for this country. I really think you're doing a lot of good for humanity, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I wish I could do more.
I think that they're kind of pushing not just the American public, but just all the governments in general. I think they want us to lose faith in the system completely so that they could usher in their one world, new world order. And I just don't hear a lot of people talking about that. But I think like the Trump administration is such a debacle by design. Because they're trying to collapse the financial system. And I ultimately think they're trying to make everybody lose faith in the system.
No, I think that's a fair point. They just, and I even said that in a different manner. Like a week or so ago, I said, it looks like the reason why this is all happening and the Trump family and friend network is positioning themselves in AI, quantum computing, data centers, and nuclear energy because they know that's the future. So it's like implode and collapse the system for good or for bad, for good or for worse. I mean, I don't know. Implode and collapse the system, and then they've already marked all the new territory. They already own all the new territory. It's like they either know it's coming or they're going to do it themselves, and then in the new system, they already own everything. They're going to be in charge. So I think that your point there is it's received very well here on this show. Next caller, what's your name? Where you're from?
Yeah, this is Biff the Painter out by Chicago. How you doing?
I'm sorry, what was the name?
This is Biff the Painter out by Chicago. How you doing?
You say Biff?
Yeah, get it done in a jiff. You call Biff.
All right, well, I'm struggling to hear you. It sounds like you're on a speakerphone
Hold
or
on,
something.
1 second. Hold on. Let me fix this stupid phone, huh? Hold on.
It seems like Trump is turning into Biff, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, I was trying to call in, I don't know, a couple months ago. I followed John Cohen on X about a year ago in January. I fell 23 feet and I got hurt, right? Broke my ribs. I'm a painter. So I'm bored, got no work, I'm out of work. Well, John Cohen's on X, he's talking about the puff rail shot at Butler, right? So I'm like, well, you're looking at the wrong thing, dude. Screw the puff rail shot, bro. This guy over here's got a gun. This one's ducking, and dude, you better go look at my reels on my profile. I've been tagging the shit out of you, Trump, everybody, man.
What is a reel? What is a reel?
Butler was a psyop. Butler was a total psyop that was sabotaged. There was a guy on the water tower, 2 snipers. One of them's names got leaked on my X account, dude. You can't make it up. Yeah, Corey Capatori was a crook. Maxwell Year got his throat slit after he drugged Crook's body on the roof, and then they switched his body with the dead Crook's body. Crook's never fired a shot, bro. And somebody's, if nobody's going to be held accountable, it is what it is, man. I tried, bro. I tried to be a patriot and warn my fellow countrymen. I don't need no goons coming after me. They told on themselves anyway. If it wouldn't have been me that saw it, some other schmuck would have got it. But evidently they don't care, and Trump don't care, so I don't care.
Well, that's I don't know about all the other stuff you're saying. Something suspicious happened at Butler. I mean, I'm not, we're not getting the full story there. I agree. But your closing sentiment here is, I think, very well received, because it's like, yeah, Trump seems to have given it up. Trump doesn't seem to care. Bongino's leaving, so it's like, I guess he doesn't care. We don't get any answers. Nobody's talking about Ryan Ruth anymore. So it's just like, okay. It's very strange. It's very strange. I don't know. What you guys are making fun of me in the chat. What is a reel? Is that like, you got to remember, I'm still banned on some social media, guys. So I'm guessing that's a social media thing. So I don't know. I'm not that hip, I guess. Is it a Facebook thing? Is it an Instagram thing? Because those are the 2 places where I still don't go. So if it's one of those 2 things, then you got me. Next caller. What's your name? Where you from?
Hey, Owen. Don from Orange County.
All right.
Now
Don.
you know why I say we made it through the week.
Dude, I had my producer DMT reaching out. We were talking before the show. He was like, man, he's like, oh my gosh, we're all just so, after this week, we're just like, oh my God, we need the Christmas vacation. I'm like, hey, well, that's what Fridays are for, brother.
That is, man. Hey, I wanted to make a quick point about what you were saying earlier. I actually got 2 quick ones. When you were touching on the how they're ushering in the digital currency and everything like that, 5 years ago when they shut the country down, me and my biker buddies, we went for a ride. We rebelled the day one when they shut everybody down. We went riding. No, there was nobody on the freeway.
It was actually kind of nice, wasn't it? The empty roads were kind of a nice thing.
It was church, but we ended up in Mulholland, up in the hills in Malibu, and we were all just kicking back, and we're pissed off, man. And then I came out with it and said, there's a reason why they're trying to usher this in. Because of the reason why is because we are pissed off as a population and as a world. It's getting more and more. They're starting to realize that right now everything is voluntary, like you said, and people are going to not pay their taxes. People are going to say, "Fuck you." We ain't doing this shit anymore.
I mean, that's it. So, honestly, if we can't have a political solution, because we want a peaceful solution, right? I want a peaceful solution, at least. I'm not trying to start a militia. I didn't join the military. I'm looking for a peaceful solution. I'm looking for a political solution, and I think most people are. I think that most people think like us and want something to be done. They just don't know how. They don't know how to coalesce. They don't know how to get anything done. So if we can't do it politically with Trump, we thought that was our political option, was doing it with Donald Trump. It looks like that's not going to be the case. So now it's like, okay, well, what is another peaceful solution? We have to have a tax revolt in this country. There has to be a tax revolt in this country. The problem is just deciding to not pay your taxes, just not filing with the IRS or whatever you have to do during tax season. That is not enough. It's like it's a start maybe, but there's still too much. The IRS now with AI, there's still too much that they can do to try to hurt us if they do that. No. The tax revolt that has to happen is that, and this is why it's like, I don't know if it would work, because 7 companies own like 90% of everything else. But it's like we have to get companies on board. Like everybody has to say we're done. We're done. No more federal taxes. If you still want to do state stuff, fine. We have to completely revolt against the federal taxes. We need American companies to say, we're not paying federal taxes anymore. Any federal taxes that our company pays or that our customers pay, we're not paying it anymore. And the individuals, the citizens, need to say, we're not filing taxes. We're not dealing with the IRS. We're not paying taxes. So if we can't do it politically, I think that's the next peaceful way to do it, is just a major tax revolt. Just say no. And by the way, we are well within our constitutional rights to do that, by the way. And there are plenty of attorneys and tax attorneys out there that, A, would argue that the federal income tax is illegal to begin with. By the way, the federal income tax was supposed to be temporary from World War I. So that shows you how temporary things are. But they would also argue it's unconstitutional, but it is fully within our First Amendment right to not pay taxes to this corrupt government. It is fully within our First Amendment right to say, I don't support us giving money to Ukraine and giving money to Israel that is being used to kill people. I don't support that. I'm not paying taxes. That's my First Amendment right. So I think that's the only other way we can do this is a tax revolt. We need a major tax revolt. And then what are they going to do? They can just continue to print money. And then we can say, okay, so see, there you go. If you can just print money for your agenda, then why are you taxing me to begin with? Okay? But, if you need our taxes to fund these foreign wars, if you need our taxes to fund your foreign allies and your foreign donors, then guess what? We're not paying taxes anymore. The money is running dry. Good luck. Go somewhere else.
Yep. And the digital currency they're going to usher in, that's going to take our right and that's going to take our ability to do that away from us. It's like you said, one day we're going to wake up and we're going to be in it. And I've been telling everybody for a long time, I was called a conspiracy theorist about this for all this time. I'm full of shit. I said, you watch. I said, they're going to, when they can't justify taking our money anymore, when they can't justify it anymore, they're going to make our ability to not pay them impossible. They're going to take it away. They're going to just straight out jack our money every day. And if we don't comply, it's a social credit score. They're going to take all our other freedoms away. But, My second point, man, I don't want to take up much of your time. My second point, I was at the gym earlier when you were talking about how you went back to the gym. And no more hey, you're 36 years old, man. I got to tell you, man, no more limping off them twisted ankles anymore. No more limping shit off. You ain't going to be able to limp that stuff off anymore, man. Them knees are going to start buckling on you. But that's just the way it goes, man. Just keep playing, dude. Keep playing and keep moving, man. It's all about circulation,
You're hitting the core of it. You're hitting the core of it right now.
You didn't think you were going to get old, did you?
Well, it's not that it's not that you don't think you're going to get old. It's just you don't think about it. It's like you're going to get old, but you don't actually think about getting old until you're in the middle of a lunge and the knee is like, no, not happening today.
Wait till you go up for a rebound at 36. Wait till you go up, feeling 36, but come down on 50.
Well, listen to this. This was when it really hit me last night, and I might still be a little delusional. But there were two things that hit me last night, and it kind of depends on the night that I'm up there playing and who's playing. But there were two things that hit me. One was I used to be able to jump up and grab the rim and hang on the rim. I couldn't dunk a full basketball, but I could dunk a mini basketball. So I used to be able to dunk a mini basketball, and last night I couldn't do it. I couldn't dunk the mini basketball last night. That was a real heartbreaker. That was a big ego blow for me. And then the other thing was at the end of the night, it was late night, and then a couple of my friends that we've been playing up there together for years, and they're all older like me. We're all in our 30s. And we've been playing together up there for years, and usually we win because we just been playing together. And so last night there were some younger guys that were up there, and they wanted to play us, and we were like, yeah, okay. And so we're sitting there, and we're like, oh yeah, this is right in our. We were like, oh, we kind of felt bad because we thought we'd mop the floor with them, and we did win. But not. It was a struggle, man. It was a struggle, and we were just sitting there.
Painful victory.
We were like sitting there afterwards, like we were like, dudes, this used to be easy. Like, oh my God, like this used to be easy. We used to be able to go out here with these young guys and, take care of business as the older guys out here. And then, yeah, afterwards we're like, oh my gosh, we're looking at each other like, how much longer do we got out here?
Those are called painful victories. I back when I was younger, man, and I used to be a beast on the court. We talked about this. I threw down Venice Beach and Laguna and all that. But, I'm 59 now, dude. And I tell you, I used to throw the ball down, dunking with some force. I had some hops. The only thing I can dunk now, dude, is a donut.
I do. And that's not really helping your cause.
No,
You're
it's
not helping your cause with that. You better be dunking it into Blackout Coffee, though.
Well, when you get older, gravity, the gravity that everyone talks about, you can start feeling it, man.
You know what I think it is? I maybe I'm in denial, but this is what I think it is. I thank you for the call. That was fun. I think because this is where it's like I am like an addict to it. It's like because I don't get high, I don't do drugs, so the only dopamine rush that I get is from working out. Like that's my dopamine is when I get to exercise. That's where I get high is exercising. So I kind of have a little bit of an addiction to it. That's my dopamine hit is lifting weights, playing basketball. So I am a little bit addicted. But I think what hit me this week was I have to have more time to recover. We're gonna find out. We're going to find out where it's really at because I took a couple months off from playing at ball at all. I just took a couple months off, and I decided this week that I was going to get back in the flow. So I played 3 nights this week, Monday, Tuesday, and last night. So I'm thinking that it was just my body just sore, not able to recover. That's why the hops weren't there. That's why I was, bent over at the end of the game last night, huffing and puffing like, oh, my God, what am I doing out here? So I want to think it's because I'm just not in basketball shape, and I want to think I can get back into it. And if I need to train my body a little differently or whatever, and maybe just do one last ride. But I think we'll find out soon. I think we're gonna find out soon whether or not it's gonna be like my last season. Let's say if 2026 is gonna be my last year trying to hoop with the youngins, or if it's time for me to just kind of say, yeah. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if it's worth it anymore, which is tough, man. Because it's one of the few competitive sports that you can play into old age and actually like go play the game. It's like I can't go to a baseball diamond and play baseball. I can't go to a football field and play football. It's like basketball is the one. Basketball is the one competitive team sport we can still go play and get a workout in. You never want to give it up. But I think actually the answer is this. Because after we finished playing, the guys told me, they were like, hey, there's an old man game that we go to. They were like, do you want to join us in the old man game now? Because these are the young kids that are taking over now. Like, we got an old man game if you want to come play with us. I was like, oh, all right, take my number and send me the old man invite. So we'll see. Because the problem is most old men here in Austin, they play at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not a big morning guy, especially in the winter. I can't do mornings in the winter. In the summer, I can, not in the winter. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll give you an update. I appreciate that call, though. That's a good call. It's nice to not talk about politics and news all the time. It's like relaxing. It's like a stretch. It's like a nice stretch. Need more stretching. Need more red light therapy probably, too. All right, next caller. What's your name? Where you're from?
Jennifer, Ohio.
All right, Jennifer, go ahead.
Back to politics. What do you think about Trump's media merging with the nuclear fission company? Do you think that's him enriching himself? And if
100%.
so, can we go after him with lawfare? Is it considered lawfare if we try to go after him?
Well, I don't know what you mean by go after him. I don't think they're doing anything illegal per se. I do think I am extremely suspicious of this nuclear scientist, this professor that got killed, that they're now trying to mop up into the Brown University thing. I will tell you, I don't trust that at all. And that story has been so crazy. Just trying to follow the bouncing ball on that has been nearly impossible. And now they're trying to just mop it up with this brown shooter that was dead in a storage unit.
And you think that has something to do with the merger?
I'm suspicious. I'm not going to say I think that, but I'm definitely suspicious. The timing of it all seems very weird because here's what's about to happen. As I said earlier, the nuclear energy is a necessity. The current energy grid power structure will not power the AI data centers and the quantum computing. It just will not do it. It doesn't have the capacity. And so they're going to have to go nuclear. Now, what they're trying to do is, and I'm not claiming to be the expert, so if I say something wrong here to the experts, okay, forgive me. But basically what they're trying to do with this merger and this new nuclear, it's like cold fusion. So it's like clean nuclear energy, essentially. There's a lot less waste. There's a lot less toxic waste that you have to deal with. There's a lot less, like steam and stuff that goes out into the atmosphere. So that's this merger. And the whole Trump media thing has like morphed 5 times over the course of the last 4 years to merge with this and merge with that. So it's like they started this thing just to put their foot in all of these different doors. So now they're going into
But how
energy.
can he try to enrich himself while he's the president of the United States and controlling the Department of Energy?
His son is running the business. So Donald Trump, the president, is not.
His family is enriching himself while he controls the Department of Energy.
It's a problem. I agree. I'm just telling you. I don't think I don't think they're doing anything illegal. I think they know what they're doing and everything they're doing is legal. But it is, it's not good. It's a little suspicious and it's ethically concerning. I think for sure.
I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
No, I think it's a fair
concern.
Bothering me. I think it's a fair concern. I don't think you're wrong to be bothered by it at all. The whole thing is suspicious to me with the death of that nuclear scientist who was working on his own energy, apparently, that could have been a threat maybe to this whole merger or this whole control of the future of nuclear. Wouldn't be the first time we heard something like that or something like that happened. But Trump and his friends, 100%, folks, this is undeniable. Trump and his friends are getting ahead of the next curve, and it's AI, and it's cryptocurrencies, and it's quantum computing, and it's data centers, and it's nuclear energy. And the Trump family is getting in at the ground level on all of it right now, and they are set to make trillions of dollars. And I think the Trump coin was the biggest rug pull of any cryptocurrency, too, by the way. These are fair ethical concerns. And what's funny about the left is that they're too stupid to even get this stuff, It's like they still try to come after Trump for the same lame garbage that they've been doing for years, and it's just like, it doesn't work. And it's like there's real stuff you could be highlighting and getting people convinced that there's a problem, and they're just too stupid. They don't even know how to do it. So, all right. Next caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Mr. Owen, my name's Aiden. I'm from Florida. What's going on?
All right, Aiden, what's up? What's on your mind?
I had a few questions for you about maybe what's happening over at AmFest with Tucker, kind of what Ben Shapiro, Tucker beefing at AmFest.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you covered this at ad nauseum or anything like that.
No, I mentioned it. I mentioned it briefly in the first hour, but is there a direct question you had?
More or less, why are they not specifically naming each other, but at same events talking about each other?
Huh. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I can't answer that.
But are somehow still on the same side of politics? It doesn't make too much sense to me, right?
Well, now, that's the issue. And I think that this is the rift. And maybe this answers, kind of the Tucker Carlson angle of that. Here's the conclusion that the conclusion that people are reaching are no, Ben Shapiro is not on our side. Mark Levin is not on our side, and they never were. These are essentially agents of Israel. These are essentially foreign agents. Whether they're literally hold on a second. Whether they're literally or not, I don't know. So I'm not insinuating that they're getting paid or doing anything illegal or, need a FARA investigation. I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But the interpretation, the public perception now, which I think is fair, the conclusion that's been reached is that Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro were basically implanted into conservative media to keep right-wing politics on the plantation of supporting Israel. And so now when you say, well, are they on the same side? No, I think people are realizing that Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, and many others in the media, they were always on Israel's side. They were never on America's side. They were always Israel's. They were always Israel's agents, Israel's side, and I'm not meaning literal agents of Israel. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I don't know. But that's the interpretation, that's the perception, that's the conclusion, is that no, these are not American patriots on our side. And I guess to Ben Shapiro's credit, he's honest about it. He came out in an interview years ago and said, the only reason I support the existence of the United States of America is so long as it supports the state of Israel. So he did say that. But that's the conclusion, is that maybe they are on the right, maybe they do have conservative values and all this other stuff. Maybe that's true. But they were inserted into the right-wing media to continue this keeping the right wing, keeping conservative, keeping Christians on the plantation of Israel. And now you have the new wave of that with Larry Ellison and David Ellison and Barry Weiss and everything that they're doing. So it's just the same formula. And maybe they're trying to introduce Barry Weiss and she's trying to do all the stuff because Shapiro and Levin are losing popularity, so they're trying a different personality. It's not going to work. People have already reached the conclusion that these people are not on our side. And I think it's a fair conclusion to reach. Thank you for the call. Next caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, what up, Owen? It's Keaton from Arizona, man.
Hey, what's you're not at the event?
Nah, brother. I actually, you know what? I bought tickets the day after Charlie died, and I decided not to go, just kind of as a protest, because I believe Israel killed Charlie. And I don't really know who's all covering it up, but I feel like the highest levels of Turning Point are involved, so I don't want to go near that place, especially after clowns like Ben Shapiro and Brandon Tatum are on the lineup. I'd rather throw up in my mouth than subjugate myself to that total garbage. But I just wanted to call in. I've been listening to you today. You're totally on fire. Arrest Pam Bondi. It'll be our first deep state arrest. And I want to take it a step further, and let's get Trump out of there and give J.D. Vance a shot. I'm pretty sick of this stuff.
Well, maybe that's not so far-fetched, but I tell you, that would be, who would have that on their bingo card? First deep state arrest is going to be Pam Bondi in shackles. Boy, that'd be a knuckleball.
Hey, maybe it will be the wake-up call Trump needs, because you're right, because when it does happen, the OG MAGA like us are going to be cheering up and down, and he's going to be so confused.
Yeah. And I've been warning. Thank you for the call. I've been warning that. I've been trying to get it across, but they'd rather listen to Laura Loomer. So she's really in touch with the American people, though, so I'm sure that'll go well. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
My name is Micah from Illinois.
All right, Micah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm wondering what you think about, why do we even give a platform to Ben Shapiro? He's literally a talking head of Israel and doesn't give a shit about our country. And he's at all these freaking AmFests and all this shit. I don't even know why anybody listens to him. He's a shill of Israel. He doesn't give a shit about the United States, doesn't care about Christians, and then acts like he speaks for Christians all the time, and he doesn't.
Yeah, and here's the new thing that they're trying to do, which I really take personally. I don't like it at all. It offends me when I've got Israelis or I've got Jewish people telling me and dictating to me what my faith means and what being a Christian means. I take that very offensively, because God forbid if I told you what being a Jew meant. You wouldn't hear that for 1 second, but you're going to lecture me on what being a Christian is? Yeah, screw right off. And I'm being polite. Now, as far as the Shapiro platforming, there is a simple answer to that. Because the same people that fund TPUSA fund Ben Shapiro. And the same people that fund TPUSA have the same agenda as Ben Shapiro. And there was a lot of stuff that got Ben even into the media to begin with You know, he was a lawyer, and originally he wanted to be on the Supreme Court, I think it was. He wanted to be the first Jewish Supreme Court justice. So he went to law school, became a lawyer. Eventually, they just implanted him into the radio, and then they kicked Michael Savage off the radio and replaced him with Ben Shapiro. What a horrible mistake that is. It's like, I love Michael Savage. I have plenty of disagreements with Michael Savage, but it's like if there's going to be a voice of reason in the Jewish community standing up against anti-Semitism, then Michael Savage is way better for a voice of reason than Ben Shapiro is. It's not even close. So no, Ben Shapiro, in my eyes, has been an implant to carry on the agenda of Israel inside of right-wing politics. And so the same people that fund all of these media operations, they're friends and supporters of Shapiro, so they make sure he gets the platform. So that's the answer to that one. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Owl Killer calling from Virginia.
What's up, Owl Killer?
Hey, buddy. So yesterday or 2 days ago, you had somebody on that also brought up that general from Venezuela. I'm telling you, look up the two articles. The general that was arrested in like 2023, and he's basically saying that they've been running drugs and ran millions of people into the country, and that they've been flipping elections all over the country. And that's why I brought up Patrick Byrne the other day. Because Patrick Byrne was saying this on Alex probably a week and a half ago. So that's where I was bringing up that I feel like there's people in the alternative media that are out there deliberately disinformation agents that are bringing this up but never produce anything. That is not why I'm calling in, but I really think you should just take a look at that when you get a chance. I know you're busy. I do want to say your new format, or I don't know if it's your new format in general, but with the interview is pretty cool, man. So I really been liking the way that you've been running the show. But what I was calling in about was the Epstein files. Now, I've come to the realization that with Trump, he's clearly better than the Democrats. He's got the border is secure. I don't know what more he could do for the economy. I kind of agree with Bannon as far as maybe the wealthy don't need that big tax cut, and it should have been a middle class type of thing. Unless you're actually hiring people and you're building in this country, I think when the interest rates come down, it should get a little better. I am as disappointed as you are on many things, specifically the foreign policy. But when it comes to the Epstein files, I'm wondering if, like, when people are saying the Epstein files, what do people think is there? Do they think like they're going to get the videos and stuff like that? Because that's really what matters. I really doubt Epstein said, "Hey, this guy was my client. Bill Clinton was here. Bill Gates was there." I doubt that that's how the stuff ran.
All right. Well, let me try to address what was the one you brought up before the Epstein files?
As far as like the foreign policy stuff, or are you talking about the Venezuela
the taxes. Well, I would say the one thing about the economy where maybe I would give Trump the benefit of the doubt, and I'm getting a little bit of this messaging. Okay, so for full transparency, I'm kind of getting this messaging when I'm standing against Trump. This is what kind of income I get. The incoming from D.C. is Trump thought he could do a lot more to fix the economy, and he really believed that some of the things that he was doing would fix the economy faster, and it's just not working. It's just not working. And he's trying to run a morale campaign now, and he's just telling people, hey, we got to boost morale. We got to keep confidence high. And if our different trading partners or China or all these other people that we're in a trade war with, if they see that American morale is down or that support for my policies is down, then they're going to use that as leverage in these trade deals, and we're going to get crushed. So a lot of it is Trump just trying to posture confidence in the trade war, but he genuinely is trying to fix the economy, but it's just not hitting yet. So it could hit, and that's what they're telling us now. But the tax cuts need to be tax cuts, and that's the problem. We can't just have the rich getting tax cuts or the corporate tax cuts, which are fine. I'm fine. I like that. But they need to be much bigger. They need to be huge. So you're not getting that. The foreign policy's been a complete disaster. Yeah. As far as the Epstein files, I think that obviously somebody's got the videos. Like somebody has the blackmail.
Yeah.
Who knows who, whatever. Somebody's got it. But as far as what people want, this is what James Comer said. And I think he's pretty rational. I think he's pretty fair. what Comer said was they're going to follow the money as best as they can. They're going to follow the money and see where bank records take them. Transfers, wire transfers, all the different bank records. That's what James Comer is trying to do right now. So he's saying that might develop some names and some clients. But to me, this is what's undeniable, and I think this is where people are frustrated. Clearly, Epstein and Maxwell were trafficking their sex slaves. I mean, that nobody's denying that. They both got arrested for that. So can
I make a point real quick with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so no, I agree. I totally agree with that. But like, what's there is like you said, whoever has the videos has the evidence. But I don't think that was his whole operation. I think it's this transhumanist stuff that they really don't want out, and that the whole Zorro Rand stuff, because that never gets brought up. And there were certain things. Like I do think Epstein was clearly, but why don't these victims just say who they were?
Wow.
Who they were basically sold to, because it's disgusting, and they should rot in hell for what they did. But I think there's more to it. Like, there was two things, and when the James O'Keefe video, did you notice that satanic book that was on the shelf? Nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. Yeah,
there was that, and there's you can type in there's a news article about somebody that was covering Epstein, and Epstein wrote her an email saying, "I have put a satanic curse on you." There's I really don't think it's just the child trafficking stuff. The guy, I mean, you got articles in the New York, I think it's New York Times, where he wanted to seed the planet, wanted to freeze his private part, wanted to freeze his head. Like, there's so much more there. I think that I really do think like what we want, because we know that the elite are into Satanism. We want to see them go down for that. But I think there's much more than just the child trafficking stuff there. Nobody is talking about that transhumanist stuff. Nobody even talks about Zorro Ranch. Like, what was going? He wanted to impregnate he wanted to seed the human race. Like, this is crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and you got a Bill Gates, somebody like a Bill Gates. What if Bill Gates isn't going after little kids? What if he's going after who Epstein has blackmailed, and he's asking Epstein for the blackmail information? There's certain stuff. There's certain stuff that I think we're really being we're being misdirected on. Because, like, from what I see, again, this is not 100%, but this is my opinion. I think he was blackmailing the scientists. He was blackmailing the politicians to let him do legally what he wanted to do. He was blackmailing the scientists to use their expertise, and he was blackmailing people financially to fund his research. That's what I kind of see what was going on. Because, look, Ehud Barak is not going to see a nobody. He's not staying at a nobody's house. This guy is much bigger than just some type of child trafficker. Like, I get that that's stuff that they're into, but you're not going to go stay at the guy's house 20 times or whatever it was. There's something much bigger going on. That's all I got. Great show, man.
Yeah. Thank you for the call. Just to kind of finalize the answer to the question about the Epstein list, I think that there is the fair understanding that there were clients of Epstein's, and they were rich, powerful, influential people, and we want to know who they are, and we want them in jail. We don't want them with any power or influence anymore. We want them away from power and influence over any aspects of civilization. That's what we want. It's a totally fair and reasonable demand, and we're not getting it. Next caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, Owen, it's Ben from Canada.
What's up, Ben?
Not much, man. Good to talk to you again.
What's on your mind?
Well, I saw Nick Fuentes talking about possibly coming on your show. Sorry to bring this up, but obviously we're all fans of you from InfoWars, and Nick's like, "Oh, I got to get permission from the big guy." And I was just like, does he really need permission from the big guy? Is he just saying that? And I just kind of wanted to hear your honest take on that.
Okay. Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask Nick that. I would imagine he's being facetious. Obviously, I saw that video. I shared it on my X account. And I told Nick he can come on the show whenever he wants. I sent him a message. I never heard back, but I sent him a message that he's welcome on the show whenever he wants. Never heard back. I'm assuming he's being facetious about the Alex thing. You know, I don't even want to really talk about that because I don't know. There may be something to that. There may be something to that. There may be some other people that might have been told something about me or to avoid me or something like that. So it's a little
too real.
It's a little touchy. I'll tell you that. It's a little touchy. And, you know, I haven't been talking about this because I'm so beyond it, quite frankly, that it doesn't really, I really don't even think about it. I'm so moved on from it that it's like it's so far in my rear view and it's not a part of my life anymore at all. And I'm happy with that. But I would just, you know, I'll just say this. And by the way, I have no problem with Nick. I've always gotten along with Nick. You know, I've been around Nick many times. Never had any problem with Nick. I have no problem with Nick at all. If he's welcome to come on the show, it'd be a great interview. I'd have a great time. If he doesn't, no problem at all. It's all good. So, but what I find strange is Nick says he doesn't like the way I handled the situation. And I would just wonder, and I remember when he first got asked this after I left, and he was basically, you know, he took Alex's side, and that's whatever. If he, you know, I don't like taking sides in this stuff, but he said he didn't like the way I handled it. And I'm just a little confused because I just don't know. Did he not really follow it, or because I didn't want it to go that way? And I made this all very clear. This was all in the phone call that I didn't want it to go that way. I wanted to go in. I wanted to finish the week. I wanted to sign off on his show and do a very friendly, amicable, I'm going independent. Everything is great. No hard feelings. That's what I wanted. That's what I told Alex. That's what I requested. He didn't want that. He's the one that didn't want that. So I'm just like, what else am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just disappear? Alex Jones is just control my life now? I'm just supposed to disappear? He doesn't want me to come back and host the show I've been hosting for like 8 years and talk to the audience that I've been talking to for 8 years? Like I'm just supposed to be gone, just disappear? What else am I supposed to do? I had to tell people it was done. I had to tell people why I wasn't going to go on air. And I was nothing but friendly. I had nothing but kind things to say. And then the next day, he tries to ruin my life. He tries to ruin my life and destroy my career over it. And lies about me. Says I don't get along with the crew, an outright lie. Suggests that I have a drug problem, an outright lie. I can't. But hey, I like Nick. I got no problem with Nick. Always gotten along well with Nick. And I think it'd be great. I think it'd be a great time if he came on the show. And, you know, I think people would really like that. I think it'd be a great collab. But I will go out. I'll say this. I wish nothing but the best for Alex and his team. I wish nothing but the best. Nothing but the best. I've always felt that way. I still feel that way. My time at InfoWars was incredible. I'm grateful for all the opportunity I got from Alex. That's never going to change. But I don't understand this. He doesn't like how I handled it. I don't understand that. But we don't even have to talk about that. I don't even care. We don't have to talk about that. Let's talk politics. Let's talk Trump. Let's talk Chicago deep dish pizza. You know? But whatever, you know, Alex invites Nick on the show all the time. So I understand if Nick is like hesitant, and maybe there's certain parties at play here that are telling people not to associate with me. So, you know, whatever. I love life. I love my life. I'm glad I went independent. I'm grateful for all the opportunity, and God bless everybody involved. So I guess eventually that call was going to come, right? I mean, I guess eventually somebody was going to bring it up. You know what though? I got to give a round of applause to the audience. I want to give a round of applause to this audience. We have been on air. The Owen Report has been on air. We're going to finish this month. It'll be month 3. We launched in the beginning of October. We're doing pretty good. We're growing. We're going in the right direction. And you know what? We took the high ground. I took the high ground. That's what I do. That's who I am. That's how I was raised. And I got to give it up to the audience. We've been on air for almost 3 months, and nobody even went there until today. And I'm not mad at the caller, by the way, at all. We have open lines here. Bring up whatever you want. I don't shy away. But you know what? This audience, this is the best audience. This is the most high-class, high-road audience out there, that this was never even brought up for almost 3 months. Because we don't do drama here. We don't do these personality conflicts. We don't do the drama, the interior drumming and the WWE building up hype and promos and all of this. We don't do that. We cover news. We talk truth. We want to save the world. We want to save the country. We want to save humanity. We talk about the real things. We're all feeling. We're all thinking. We're all seeing. So I take my cap off. I take my cap off to the audience. We've been here for 3 months doing this show, taking calls, and nobody ever went there, because we have nothing but class here, and we focus on the things that actually matter. So big ups to the audience. Big ups to the audience. Nothing but love and respect for you guys. That's what this is about. We talk about the things that matter. We don't do the drama fest. We don't do the high school cafeteria lunch table drama. We don't do the WWE personality build-ups. We cover news. We talk about what's happening in our world. We try to fight for a better country, a better future, a better civilization. We fight for truth. We tell the truth. We call it as it is. And we stay classy and we stay professional. And my audience is all in on it with me. So big salute to the audience for that. Big salute. All right, back to the phone lines. What's your name? Next caller, where you're from?
It's Andrew again from Florida.
All right, Andrew, go ahead.
I called in a few days ago, and it was my first time, so I was a little not great at it. Just want to say I've been watching your show for a few years. I mean, well, you're on a different platform then. I was watching it with my wife. She said, oh, that didn't go too well. And I was just like, yeah, I don't think he's coming back after that. And I'm just really, really impressed that you were able to launch your own thing. And it's turning out really good. I just want to say, hey, good job, dude.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for doing your thing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you and your family invite me into your house for 3 hours a day. That means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. And that relationship means a lot to me too. And that's your second call now. So you got a little more experience, you know? We're building experience points here. Next caller, what's your name? Where you're from?
Is it me?
It's you. What's your name? Where you from?
Oh, my name's Aaron, and I'm from Kentucky.
All right, Aaron, go ahead.
I truly believe that there's going to be some big events lately, and I was able to predict, like, when Antifa attacked the last time Trump was in office, I was able to predict that 2 years in advance, and I kept trying to tell everybody. I even called Rob Dew or Alex Jones and was trying to tell them, and Rob Dew said, I don't know what you're talking about. And but that was before, so now they got this they're going to do more attacks. But it's not even just that. It's, we're in this communist takeover, and I kind of wonder, is the communist the new world order? You think that's what that is?
Well, you can talk about all these different political constructs or social constructs, but it ends up kind of just getting lost in the weeds. They want to centralize power. That's what it's all about. That's what they tried to do with COVID. They want to centralize power, but they needed a way to do it. So they release the virus, they run the scare campaigns, they lock you down, they force the vaccine. But as I said earlier, the big mistake they made with that was that they didn't have the infrastructure ready. So they learned that, so now they're reversing it. So their big mistake with COVID was they ran the pandemic, okay? They ran the lockdowns, everything, the vaccines, and then they came out and said, okay, here's the World Health Organization global pandemic treaty, and we're all going to come on board, and we're all going to sign this, and we're going to enter this centralized world government when it comes to how we respond to a pandemic, right, which they'll have full control of. And to Trump's credit, he got us out of that. He rejected that, and that was good. But so that was their failure, was that they ran the operation and then tried to build the infrastructure. So now they realized, first we have to build the infrastructure. So that's why they're building the AI surveillance. That's why they're testing it with everything Israel is doing in the Middle East. So now they're building the infrastructure. Then they're going to have the big event, and then they're just going to put you right into the infrastructure. They're not going to roll out a treaty. They're not going to roll out, and say, okay, this is what we're doing. They're just going to turn it on. So that's going to be the difference, is they're just going to turn it on now. Because they learned from their past mistakes, which was, okay, you don't run the operation and then build the infrastructure. You build the infrastructure, then you run the operation, and then you just turn it on. And so that's where I think it's going. So, communist, socialist, whatever, yeah, it's all socialist. It's all communist. I mean, we live in a socialist country. America is socialist. It's like you hear, it's like, folks, what do you think this is? You pay 30% in taxes. You work to feed somebody else. You work to fund a foreign country. You work to take care of people that come here illegally. America is, by definition, a socialist country. Now, it's not supposed to be. We're supposed to be a free market republic. But we're corrupted. Our politicians sold us out. Our media lies to us. Our education system is an indoctrination center now. So use whatever words you want. It's all about centralizing power, and you have to destroy America. You have to destroy America's sovereignty, and you have to destroy the idea and the concept of self-government, and you have to prove that self-government didn't work. Of course, self-government does work. It's the best system. It didn't fail. That's why they're trying to make it fail. Because you can't have a world government. You can't have a centralized power structure if self-government and America succeeds. You can't do it. So you have to destroy America. And you have to say, see, it didn't work. So that's what they're doing. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Hello.
Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Hello, my name is Jeffrey. I am actually right down the street in San Antonio.
What's up, Jeffrey?
Been listening to you for quite some time. I kind of wanted to go talk about something that I haven't really heard anybody discuss, and if you have somewhere else that's I do apologize. So kind of going off in a strange direction here. If that's okay with you?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so that sports anthem that that they played over and over again, the da da na 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 hey na 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 na.
Yeah, Gary Glitter, right?
Yeah, Gary Glitter. That is exactly right. Have you heard anything about that guy within the past 2 years?
I don't think so.
So he went down for child rape, whatever.
Oh, I did hear that. Okay, I do remember that now. And because everybody thought there was like, oh, this is why they play Queen and Gary Glitter at sports games to make it gay. Yeah, okay, I remember that.
Exactly.
All right.
So he got released. He got released on parole. And, a couple of years back, and, everyone was like, what the heck? Why is this guy getting let out? And he actually got caught. While he was paroled, he got caught Googling images of children on the phone that they gave him, and he got sent right back in. I never heard anybody kind of touch on that, and that's the craziest thing to me.
Well, here I guess Gary Glitter is not exactly a household name, and
but that song
other than
is.
that, other than that song, I don't think anybody could tell you anything he did. So it's not like it's not like he was some icon in the music world, other than just that one song. So there's really not even much in the news. I'm looking at news right now. There's not even much on the news over it.
I know. That's kind of the point I'm getting at, is that they kind of suppressed this. This was something that just kind of, flew, a fart in the wind. And it's one of the craziest things, that, it just kind of got shoved right under the rug. But just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Are you requesting rock and roll? Are you requesting the Hanks?
Hey, I'll tell you
because
what.
DJ Tyrant doesn't do requests. We don't do musical requests.
I actually do celebrate his catalog, and if you want to go in like a YouTube deep dive on this guy, it's super interesting. But
does he have other good music?
Oh my gosh, he has got some great music.
Okay.
And the crazy thing about that is Joan Jett covers one of his songs, and it's like her biggest hit. And
Which
she
one?
still does it to this day. Do You Want to Touch Me? Like, the lyrics are insane.
It's also
like,
gay.
Knowing what we know now about the guy, it's like, okay, this is just straight up bad.
Yeah. And this is where I don't want to put too much weight into this. This is an interesting call.
Of course.
I'm glad you made this call. That's fun. I was saying this yesterday too. It's like whenever I don't have to talk politics and current events and it's somebody else doing that, it's like a stretch. It's like, oh man, this is nice. I can talk about something else. Here's what's strange, and I use my same theory on this. Thank you for the call. If logic can't be applied universally, it's not logic, it's propaganda. So I'm not putting too much weight into this, but you bring it up. Yeah, I mean, nobody really heard about Gary Glitter, and I'm not comparing Gary Glitter to Michael Jackson, obviously. But there are a lot of people out there in the music industry that have actually gone down, folks, kitty diddlers that have actually gone down. In fact, one of them, the lead singer from the Lost Prophets, was recently killed in jail. He was I think he got hit on, it was some sex offense of a minor. I don't remember exactly. But he recently just got killed in jail. And again, it's like you don't really hear much about that. Let's see here. Yeah, Ian Watkins, Wakefield prison death outlined at inquest. This was not long ago, actually. This is 2 months ago when he was killed in a prison attack. And by the way, the prison system is not a safe place for pedophiles, by the way. The criminals in the prison system treat pedophiles and kitty diddlers with a stronger hand than the court system does. So that's not too surprising. But it's like, yeah, you've got all of these different people in the music industry that have actually gone down and gone to jail for different, kitty diddling stuff, and you never hear about it. But it's like they want you to think that about Michael Jackson. So I'm always a little suspicious about that. If logic can't be applied universally, it's not logic, it's propaganda. So maybe there's a little bit of a reach, but, the caller brought it up, so why not? All right, last call of the show. I'm not about to sign off after the call, but this is the last call of the show. So last caller, what's your name?
Aaron from Kentucky.
All right, Aaron, go ahead.
Okay. I was saying how I was able to predict the last time 2 years in advance.
No. You don't get to call twice in a show. So that's not going to be the last call. This is a rule. It's a talk radio rule. You don't get 2 calls in a show. You snuck one by me because I don't have a call screener here. But we don't do 2 calls in a show. So God bless you, but we don't do 2 calls in one show. So we'll take another. Next caller, what's your name? Where you're from?
Hello?
Yes. What's your name? Where you're from?
Hey, it's Kieran. I'm calling from Kentucky.
All right, another Kentuckian. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say I think we need to dig up Epstein's grave on camera, see who's in there.
Does he have a grave? Where is his grave?
It's in Florida, apparently. It's in an undisclosed location. But I don't think this guy's dead. That's not the reason I called, though. I don't know if you've been following this thing with Google Trends. Like before the National Guard attack, they were searching for the attacker's name on Google Trends. Today in Israel, they are searching for Disneyland terrorist. You can confirm that by doing your own Google Trends search.
So the internet sleuths. So the internet sleuths are getting in front of it now.
Yeah, I don't know how you can see what's being actively searched.
Well, did you see the one? Did you see the one where there was a search ping in Israel for the name of the nuclear scientist?
I didn't see that, but I was actually searching that on Google Trends this morning, trying to.
Yeah, I forget exactly. I forget exactly what it was, but yeah, it was like there was another. It was another ping from Israel. Just like the Kirk situation, just like the one you brought up, and now this scientist. Now, the reason why I don't bring that here, and I mention it because it's out there, but the reason I don't put too much stake into that because I just have no idea. I just have no idea what it means, and you can easily ping a different location. You can easily ping an IP location in a country that you're not in. So there's plenty of plausible, there's room for plausibility that it's not what it seems. But despite that, it's obviously highly suspicious. It's extremely suspicious, and it's weird how this gets ignored and cast off, even though it is happening.
Definitely. I just wanted to call in and put that out there in case, there is a Christmas Day attack at Disneyland or something. It's not Iran. It's Mossad, everybody.
Yeah, well, that's what they always do. They blame Iran for everything, and it always turns out to be fake, and then we don't completely discount every piece of fake Mossad Israeli intelligence that comes across our newswire, even though they lie to us all the time. Weapons of mass destruction, Iranian drones. Now this last deal with the scientist, the professor getting killed. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but it's very suspicious. And it's like, why do these search trends keep pinging? Again, I'm not going to sit here and put too much into the fact that they're pinging in Israel because, I mean, if this was going to be a professional job, you would think they'd be smart enough to hide their internet history. And if they really wanted to throw you off the scent, then they would obviously send you down the scent of Israel because that's where everyone's looking for everything anyway. So I do think the Google search trend results are significant, but I'm hesitant to put too much weight on the actual location because you can easily dummy a location. And if this is a professional running this stuff, then they're obviously going to hide their internet history. But that stuff is very weird. Folks, I'm telling you, man, just weird stuff is happening. And I just feel like these are not isolated incidents. And so people look at who benefits. They look at what the patterns of all these events have in common. Weird times to be alive, man. Crazy times to be alive. All right, so here's what we're going to do before we sign off. First of all, I want to apologize because yesterday I forgot to go into the Super Chats, so I'm still trying to make a habit of this. The Super Chats on YouTube. The Rumble Rants, the problem with the Rumble Rants is they don't pop up they don't hold in my feed. So if you are doing a Rumble Rant and I don't see it, I apologize, but that's because they just don't hold in my feed. The YouTube Super Chats, they actually hold in my feed, so I can actually go back and see them where the Rumble Rants come in and go. But yesterday, so if you are doing Rumble Rants and I don't read it, I apologize. If I see it, I will. But yesterday we had some YouTube Super Chats that I did not get to, and so I am sorry. I'm trying to make a habit of that, to read them at the end of the show. I want to make it part of the show, but we weren't able to get to those yesterday. I just forgot. I apologize to the people that had the YouTube Super Chats yesterday that we didn't get to. But let's close out the show today with them. ACIP5HD says, digital non-sedition acts, Palantir enforced. Well, I'm not sure exactly what you're saying there, but yeah, I think that they're going to use AI to spy on everything we do and say, and then, basically take away our rights to free speech and punish us for things that we do on the internet. John Holvey, best thought of the day. Huge respect for these words, Owen. Good content of character here. Well, I'm not sure what you were talking about. That was right at the end of the first hour. So what were we talking about then? I think that's when we were playing the video of the Jewish Australian man talking about his hero, the Muslim man, and wanting to come together and bring peace. I think that's when we were talking about then. Abdullah Siraj asks, why was Tom Artyom Alexandrovich, Israel's top cyber defense official, allowed to return home after being arrested in the U.S. for child predators? Yeah, if you don't know the story about Tom Alexandrovich, he got caught in a sting operation. He was allowed to fly back home to Israel. That's just an agreement. That's an agreement that we have with Israel. And all the time when pedophiles get caught in the United States of America, they get to go find safe harbor in Israel. CBS did a cover on that a couple years back. It's very well documented. So that's what happens there. ACIP5HD, you should interview Whitney Webb on Epstein and do a stream with Jay Dyer. I have no problem doing that. You know, here's kind of my approach to guests. It's like, you know, topical stuff is fine. If somebody's breaking news on a current event, then I might reach out to a guest. But normally, I only bring on guests if they reach out to me. That's just kind of my approach. Because I just feel like most people, and this is how I am, most people are tuning into this show to hear me. They're tuning in because they want to hear me and my takes. And so sometimes too many guests can get stale. But they also bring value to the show. But I don't think I've ever talked to Whitney Webb. I would have no problem bringing Whitney Webb on. I've talked to Jay Dyer before. So we can see if these things might happen. Robert Bickerstaff, I think it's fair now to ask if Trump was in on the plandemic. No, absolutely. I think it's fair. That's what I was saying. I think it's fair to review all of Trump's first term now after we gave him the benefit of the doubt. And we're looking at it now and thinking, okay, well, maybe it's time to review it. Now, I would say, though, I don't know if that's fair to say he was in on it, because if you recall, his first instincts were to reject it and not freak out and not shut down, and then somehow they twisted his arm and bullied him into doing that. So I don't think that he was in on it, but eventually they brought him in on it. Robert Bickerstaff, Putin 2028. Well, maybe in Russia. Super Platano Man. Owen, what's your opinion on breezy politics? They clip your content. They love your take on Israel. I like breezy politics. I appreciate anybody that shares my content. You know, I'm one of those banned and censored men in America. And so I really appreciate anybody that shares my content. So thank you, breezy politics. I think you guys do good work. Bob Bickerstaff, the most Jewish reaction to a hero I've ever seen. My gosh. She gave the whole game away. Okay. Christian Martin, whatever happened with Anthony Gucciardi? I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm not even sure what that means. I mean, he used to work at InfoWars. Rich, Ranger Rich, great work. Keep it up. It's important. Thank you, Ranger Rich. Asterisk 2026. He did the same thing to Gerald Celente. I don't know who he is. You say he did the same thing to Gerald Celente. Who is he? I like Gerald Celente. Gerald Celente is a good time. Good man. Man pushing for peace when a lot of people on the right are pushing for war. So I'm not sure who it is you're talking about there, but we like Gerald. Gerald's a great guy. He's a real one. Oh, you're saying it happened over at okay. I get you now. Yeah, I don't know about that. I can't comment on that. I didn't see it. But I like Gerald. He's a good guy. He's a real one. Good for Gerald. All right, guys, there it is. There it is. We did it. We did it. It's Friday. Less than a week till Christmas. Less than a week till Christmas, guys. Have a great weekend, you know? Find some time for family and friends. Find some time for you. Eat some good food. Relax a little bit. Don't forget to get a little exercise, too. Get outside. But have a great one. You know what? We're going to take a couple days off. We're going to take the weekend. And we're going to be right back here on Monday. And we do have some bonus stuff next week. Actually, Monday, I got a debate Monday with David Cate. You may know who that is. He's starting to gain a little bit of a following on the right. Big Trump supporter. Very pro-Israel. He gets after it on X with me. So actually Monday at noon, I'm going to be having a debate, a conversation. We'll see how it goes. We'll be having a conversation with him Monday at noon. And then we have the Owen Report, 3 o'clock Central. And then right after the Owen Report, I'm going to be going on with Josie, the redheaded libertarian. So we got a trifecta for you Monday. Then we're going to come back on Tuesday with a couple other special things before Christmas, and then we take the Christmas break. Have a great weekend, guys. God bless. Godspeed. My hat tip to the audience. I love you guys.